Never have I been so excited to get a whiff of sweaty jock straps. It's Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Yay, football, the fan. It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Nooner funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
So where's the office, back at Division? Yeah, in the office, baby. Going out.
All right, away we go, live from Super Bowl 59, Radio Row, Rothman and Ice, brought to you by Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. We made it to Friday, boys. We didn't lose anybody along the way. No. Nobody's hanging off a balcony or hanging from beads from a balcony. Good to see you, my man.
It's good to see you, brother. Football Friday, and the Super Bowl is right around the corner. You know, we walked in today to Radio Row, and we were like, you know what? Died down a little bit, which it did. When you look around and you look at some of the tables that are empty, some of the stations that have left, but it's still a who's who in this joint right now. I mean, prior to the show, we saw Deebo Samuel. We saw Seal. I mean, Seal's in the building today.
Did you get a kiss from a rose, man?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, Bryce Young. I mean, it is still a party in here in NOLA. It's on fire, man. So I'm fired up for another good show at Radio Row.
Maybe these stations aren't here, but they're here. They're lost somewhere in NOLA. Look at this belt we got going here. That thing's outstanding.
I don't know what that is, but it looks like if you say anything wrong to her, it's going to be lights out for you. Yeah, I think so.
What is that belt? That's amazing. Can you show it on our YouTube
on
camera
our
here
YouTube
real
channel
fast?
right there?
Oldest belt in all of sports, not the one she's wearing, this one. Awesome. Thank you for stopping by.
There we go. Appreciate
Have a good
you.
time.
There it is.
All right, Manny, I figured you want to, you're the wrestling
guy.
guy.
Look, we had some wrestlers in the house from AEW yesterday. We saw Seth freaking Rollins rolling around this joint. I mean, right behind CB and in front of us is Jameis Winston taking a picture with Golden Tate. You got a picture with your head coach and Kevin O'Connell. I mean, this is what Radio Row is all about. I'll tell you what, Jameis Winston, the dude is an absolute rock star around here.
By the way, he's wearing like a mohair sweater. I think I'll be if we interviewed him, I think I'd be sneezing.
The fit is absolutely fire from Jameis Winston. He's eating dubs with that.
So you
fit.
Like the mohair sweater?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm absolutely in on that. The dude is going to walk into a media job.
This is a roast master
as soon as
right
he's
here.
Done. But yeah, Jameis Winston's the guy right now.
There's Jeff Ross, Fish's evil twin.
It really is Fish's evil
That's
twin.
amazing. Jeff Ross, the roast master.
There we go.
Anyway, I saw Marino back here.
Yep.
I didn't ask for a bathroom selfie. I didn't pull the Matty. I waited.
Man.
And then I did see Seal, you're right. And so it is hopping.
Yeah,
but my point is, I think some of these stations, Matty, that aren't here, they probably are here somewhere in the French Quarter.
Just down there on Bourbon Street, just waking up.
What happens to some rookies on Radio Row? So here we are.
Yep.
All right, you know who you're picking yet?
I do not know who I'm picking yet. That is going to come at the 11th hour of our show today. Quick reminder, though, we've had so many great guests throughout the last couple of days. If you missed any of that, don't even worry about it. Wherever you get your podcast, type in Rothman and Ice. Everything we do from noon to 3, it'll be waiting there for you. Our podcast is sponsored by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
So, yes, you're in the, what I like to call the Mr. Hand, will I pass this class? Gee, Mr. Spicoli, I don't know. I don't know either. I've been leaning Eagles all week based on the fact that I think this is their time to get over on Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kansas City is certainly a great team. Everybody knows that's obvious. They don't seem like they're a killer to me, but they have what most teams crave, and that's they just win. They find a way. And you hear coaches talk about it. They know when they get into a fourth quarter of a tight game, their competence, their execution, it just seems to always go their way. I like to look at games like as its own game. I'm not trying to fight history here or a three-peat. I'm just trying to look at it from this game. And I did see something that kind of bothered me, that did you see that Don Kleeman tweeted out, and I don't think there's many word on this. We'll ask some of our guests that Jalen Carter was ill, and there may be some illness floating around the Eagles' locker room.
That is not great. That ain't what you want, obviously, coming into this game. We've been talking about this all week, about this Eagles team, that this Eagles team isn't some little cute team that you should feel for that's just getting here. No, this team is an absolute force, man. The Eagles are 15-1 since September, and their only loss came when Jalen Hurts got a concussion against the Washington Commanders. And so this is a heavyweight bout. This is as big as it gets. This is the Hulk versus Captain America. This is Captain America versus Iron Man. Whatever Avenger matchup you want to line up, that's what this is. And it all comes down to, can the Eagles avoid hurting themselves and giving the Chiefs extra opportunities? There's so many good matchups baked into this game, which we'll get into. We'll ask our guest about. But Philadelphia, I truly believe, comes into this game with a high sense of belief that they can get this thing done. They knocked on the door a couple years ago against this team, and I get the rosters aren't exactly the same, but some of the main characters are the same. And so I'm expecting a banger of a game Sunday night.
Listen, Vegas is usually on the mark. They've had it 1.5. It hasn't really moved. Didn't get past a key number. You highly doubt the spread's actually going to come into play. I'm not saying we couldn't get a one-point game. We could, but I'd say we wouldn't. But they know it's going to be close. Here's the tweet from let me make sure this is an accurate tweet because you always want to make sure things are covered. This is Jalen Carter was dealing with an illness that has been spreading around the locker room. Vic Fangio is hopeful that Carter will play in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I would hope so.
Just take some Tussin. Take some Robitussin and let's go.
These guys pour some Tussin on it?
Listen, these guys are playing, AR. These guys are, unless they literally have lost 10 to 15 pounds over the last couple of days because they're that sick.
Just makes you lighter and faster.
Yeah, these guys are playing, man. These guys are going to play in the game. It's not the greatest thing, but I would be surprised. Actually, let me not say that, because if you're sick, you're sick, but we know how tough these football players are, and I think we'll see Jalen Carter out there. Now, when you talk about sickness and all that type of stuff, what your stamina like, what your conditioning like all that stuff can come into play. But, yeah, definitely something to monitor over the next 48 hours.
So we will parade through a bunch of our interviews this week, and we've got a lot of guests today. Forgive me, another Viking, but he's a former NFL MVP, and that would be Rich Gannon will join us this hour. Greg Cosell potentially will be able to wrangle in the nephew of the great Howard Cosell, who does so much for NFL Films. And I've heard this said about him, if you had to talk to one person about X's and O's in football the rest of your life, you might draft him. Yeah. So Greg will join us this hour. And I did promise you a GM, Thomas Dimitroff, in the second hour. Harry Douglas, the former Falcon, not on Unsportsmanlike, but he's Freddie and Harry from 3 to 7 on ESPN Radio. He'll join us today. Brian Baldinger will get a Baldy's breakdown today, so we can. That's the cool part about today is we don't have to make our picks right now. We can wait till all these guys come through and let them send us one way or the other. Right. And then I ran into Dan Graziano from ESPN, maybe the smartest guy at ESPN, the most knowledgeable. Don't ask him a trivia question; he'll get it right. And he will hope. He was strolling around here earlier today, and I talked to him. He thinks he may be back here so we can get him as kind of our last word at 2:30. So that will be cool. But I'm with you, man. It's one of those things that there's a reason that this game is hyped, like you said, as much as it is. The heavyweight battle that it is could go either way. Philly's been taking care of the ball really well. We know the Mahomes factor is alive and well. The interesting part about the Kansas City Chiefs to me is that they just don't wow you anymore as far as throwing the ball down the field. Like vertically, they don't do it. Everything's behind. A lot of stuff's behind the line. Worthy's going to be heavily involved. Kareem Hunt's been running pretty hard. And they've just had some timely plays, timely stops in the Bills game. Because if they don't get Josh Allen on that fourth down, the Bills are already up 3 at midfield. They go in and get a touchdown there and go up 10. Then I think they do have them. But that changed everything. So the Chiefs, as we've mentioned, they've just done every little thing right to get here with the 17 straight one-score victories.
Which is an NFL record. NFL record, which you just mentioned right there, and you're so right. Like, this isn't the Tyreek Hill era of the Kansas City Chiefs offense. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Lowest yards per attempt of his career for Pat Mahomes happened this season at 6.8 a pop. However, the flip side of that is he's got the highest completion percentage of his career at 67.5. So very efficient with what he's doing. And when you combine the efficiency and the mind of Pat Mahomes with what Andy Reid's going to be dialing up and the creativity, that's why this team is still dangerous. And you bring it up, Xavier Worthy, man. He just opens up so many different things for them with his electricity, whether that is vertically, horizontally, coming out of the backfield, whatever. It looks like just a tremendous draft pick by them that fell in their laps by one of their rivals, the Buffalo Bills, and they're thankful for that and will be for years to come. But, yeah, this is just a tremendous matchup. And Pat Mahomes is one of these guys, man, that he lives for these moments, and he absolutely is going to be ready to go Sunday night.
Speaking of mine, so I tapped into ESPN this morning, and I'll give you a little bit of the extremes of what's going on at ESPN. So when they had Louis Riddick on, Dominic Foxworth, Jeff Saturday, and our guy Dan Graziano, who we hope to have later on, they all are on the record of picking Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So they're all picking the Chiefs. And then when they popped on Ryan Clark and Saturday and Greeny again, the whole graphic changed to Eagles. Like, what's going on over there?
It's the beauty of this game. It's the beauty of this game.
One day from the next?
They're
putting graphics up on who's going to win?
That's where I'm at with my pick right now. I've gone back and forth all week
But you
long.
haven't actually – you didn't say when we got down here on Wednesday, they're winning.
Right, no, I haven't been there. But as far as one day me feeling like, you know what? Kansas City's going to do this. And then the other day, man, Philly's got this roster. They're loaded. They've been there. They've done that. They got a squad. I could pick them as well. And that's what I'm saying. My pick is literally going to come at the 11th hour of our show before we get out of here and head back to the city.
I think like I said to Dockett yesterday, I'm going to cheat a little bit in my bets. I'll pick a winner, but in my bets I'll probably cheat a little bit. I definitely have to cover a close Eagles loss. I have to tease that up to 3.5. Yeah. I just have to, because if I'm leaning Eagles, I have to have them 3.5 because of what everybody says. Kansas City's not losing a close game. If I really truly believe that Kansas City's going to win, I just don't think – you and I talked about this. Nobody anticipates a 14-point or bigger win on Sunday. But if there was going to be one –
Kansas City's going to do that.
See, and I'm the opposite. I'm the other way.
Kansas City, to me, would be the team that would run away with it.
All right. We had the awards come through last night.
Yeah.
MVP was announced. Did they get it right? We're back on the row in moments. It's Rothman and Ice, brought to you by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare on the Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Say yes to Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend on February 21st and 22nd. Enjoy buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. Visit us in-store and learn more at diamondseller.com.
Back in the studio with a return visit from
Todd Schmelt.
Todd, the last time you were with us, you claimed to be
the dumbest person in Columbus.
You're being really hard on yourself.
Not in the least. You know what I got?
I hate to ask.
One of them thermostats with the dial and the needle. Woo, woo, woo.
Maybe that's not modern, but not...
What am I? Eli Whitney, Elias Howe, Johann Gertis?
I don't know who those people are.
Those are old-timey people from the 19th century, and that's me. Outdated, like my silly old thermostat.
Okay, look, you're not the dumbest guy in Columbus. You just haven't called Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Those guys. Whether it's the latest technology, fixing your furnace, or a brand new system, they know all the stuff so you don't have to.
I don't have to know it all?
Nah, you just have to know the pros who knows.
Apex Pros. I'm not the dumbest guy in Columbus.
I didn't even know who Johann Gertis was.
Inventor of the gas-powered unicycle. Look it up, doy.
Okay, you don't have to be me.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
It's really been amazing, the amount of people that I've had contact me, and the talk is generally centered around QC Kinetics, and whether it's a knee, whether it's a back, a hip, shoulder.
He's always happy to talk about how QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments finally gave him relief without surgery. That's former pro football player Bobby Carpenter.
My message to them is do not wait and push off a week, a month, whatever it is. So if you want to feel better this summer, now would be the time to get in. If you want to feel better in the fall, make sure that you're getting in here so you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy. away.
Spoken by a man who experienced relief firsthand. QC Kinetics gave this former pro athlete back his mobility, his activity, and they'll do the same for you.
Has really helped me in just my general quality of life.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community. Except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station. Except Bo. The Fan.
Ohio has over 920,000 diabetics. If you are a diabetic, take a step in the right direction by having your feet checked routinely by a podiatric physician, the most qualified doctors to care for your feet. Adding a podiatrist to your healthcare team can help you better manage the effects of diabetes on your feet. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are tracking the sunshine out there today, high around 35. Cloudy tonight, low 26. Dry on your Saturday morning, but some rain and freezing rain expected Saturday afternoon. Freezing rain could be pretty bad along and north of I-70. South of I-70, it shouldn't be as bad. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Rothman and Ice are in New Orleans for some reason. It's certainly not the big football game coming up Sunday.
Sponsored by the Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Live from Radio Row, it's Rothman and Ice.
All right, back on the row. Courtesy of Low T Center this week, Rothman and Ice. So I'm talking to you guys. If you're tired, lacking motivation and drive, you gained some weight, lost some muscle, don't lie to yourself. It could be low T. Go find out. Don't wait. Low T Center is going to make it easy. You go in, you get the simple blood test, and they'll give you the results right there. And if you need help, they have the physicians and the experience to help you, more than a decade of it, and super important, they're going to tailor it to you. You'll be treated as an individual patient, not a standard dosage guy when you walk into Low T Center. If you're already a patient, that's great. If you refer another patient, as you being a current one, they'll give you a $150 referral credit for every new patient you refer. Most importantly, if you're new to it and you want to get your numbers, if you've been curious, go to lowtcenter.com now and book it. lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care. The awards came down last night at the ceremony, and this isn't a surprise, but it was a coin flip. MVP was going to go to either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. So in a weird way, I'm not telling you they got it right, but I know they didn't get it wrong.
They got it wrong.
Statistically, maybe.
They got it wrong.
But not wrong in that what he's been asked to do for that team.
Here's
Depends how you look at MVP.
Here's why I think they got it wrong, and why, to me, the math ain't mathing on any of it, right? Like, people are going to say I'm biased, and of course I am, because Lamar is my guy. But what doesn't make any sense to me is how the same voters that vote for All-Pro and the MVP voted Lamar as the first-team All-Pro quarterback. 31st place votes for that to Josh Allen's 18, and those same guys voted Josh Allen MVP with 27 votes to Josh Allen and 23 to Lamar. Look, Josh Allen's incredible. Both of them are. Josh Allen led a really good team this year, but if we did a blind resume test on this thing and you look at where Lamar's team was, which wasn't far behind the Buffalo Bills, and statistically where these two quarterbacks were, they got it wrong. I was listening to Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson. They were blown away by this. Torrey Smith was at the award show last night and said a lot of current players were shocked that Lamar didn't win it. And so I'm not alone in this. I think it's one of those things that we talked about, AR, where I guess some people get fatigued with voting for the same guy, even though he might be the clear-cut best player in the league, which I thought Lamar was this year. And, it's one of those things that we see not in the NFL. We see it in the NBA. We've seen it in Major League Baseball. This has just been a thing in sports that I don't understand. But credit to Josh Allen, because this guy is an absolute force, and now he's got a nice little trophy to add to his man cave.
Well, the first big one. It is a massive one. So I'm in the camp of you're exactly right. If you did the blind taste test or the look test, then yes. But I think what this award has become is a narrative award, which you said, so I'm not going to argue that. And I think that the narrative was that this guy had his top receiver traded away in Stephon Diggs, and maybe he had to do a little more for his team. Who knows? It's splitting hairs. I'm with you. It's probably one of those, fair or not, that some people said Lamar has two, this guy has none. I've mentioned the guys on the row yesterday. If not now, then when? But you're right. If you went statistics and your eye test, Lamar checks both boxes. I thought Josh checked both boxes. Lamar's numbers were better. Josh's team, record-wise, was a little better. You're not supposed to consider a playoff, so that wasn't involved.
Yeah.
Maybe they feel a little more justified now that they got him, but this is where we are. But you're right. On a purely stat level, he wins. On a look test, he certainly could win that also. And I can understand why you would be – I understand why you're in that camp.
It's not
Absolutely.
just me either. You know, it's not just me either. There's a bunch of people there. Because, here's where we're at with what Lamar did this year. The first quarterback ever to throw for 4,000 and rush for 900. First quarterback ever to throw 40-plus passing TDs and fewer than 5 interceptions, and the fourth best passer rating in the history of the league. So this wasn't like his numbers were historical this year with what he did, and for whatever reason the voters said, no, we're giving it to the beast out of Buffalo. It's crazy. I don't know.
There is a difference, I agree, between a great player having a great season and a great player having an MVP statistical season.
Yeah.
Lamar was that guy. So either they got to change this damn criteria, and that they put all these they have to agree on what stats are the most important.
Yeah.
Throw them in the computer, and it would spit out Lamar most of the time because he's that great, and he had a great season. I'm with you, and I know you're not alone. I guess where I am is that it became, for me, that one guy didn't have Derrick Henry, and that's not to say anything bad about Lamar. He was great, and I'm not trying to make this big argument for Josh. I think it could have gone either way. I thought you brought up a good point. Sometimes these guys say, well, if we're not going to give him that, we'll give him this one. It happens sometimes with that. But Saquon got Offensive Player of the Year, right?
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. He was an absolute monster. I want to give a credit to Patrick Surtain for winning Defensive Player of the Year. You know how hard that is as a corner to win that? I mean, that is just absolute lockdown stuff. You're taking away a whole side of the field. That dude was touted as one of the best corners coming out of Bama a few years ago and has lived up to that and more. I don't know how many corners in the history of the league have won that award. I can't imagine it's too many that have done that. It feels like that's a linebacker defensive line defensive end kind of award. I feel like that's gone to the majority of those guys. But, yeah, credit to him for doing that. I mean, that's absolutely tremendous stuff, and that Denver defense has been legit since he pulled up.
You got to go back a little ways.
For a corner?
Well, Gilmore got it with the Pats.
Yeah. That was the year he had a crazy amount of interceptions, I remember.
You've had some defensive backs. You've had Troy Polamalu. We've had Woodson.
Yeah.
And, go all the way back.
Yeah, corners. And credit to Joe Burrow, AR. He did it. Comeback Player of the Year.
You know what? I actually thought Trey Hendrickson should have gotten close to Defensive Player of the Year.
What was the voting on that? I would love to look at the voting on that.
On one of the worst defenses in the NFL, this guy led the league in sacks.
We've been
with
talking
17
about
and a half.
him. It's crazy. He doesn't get enough respect.
I mean,
He doesn't.
there's, by the way, the list of Bengals who have led this league in sacks.
Yeah.
Now it's one. Him.
Just
like
him.
that's the list.
Yeah, pretty
and
crazy.
so it's pretty amazing. Burrow, I asked you about, as far as comeback player of the year, it seemed a little bit interesting to me that he won comeback player of the year because he didn't have the most disastrous
He
thing
didn't.
to come back from.
I think it feeds into what you brought up with the whole injury narrative. Some of that narrative was attached to Joe Burrow, and then you come back this year and light up the NFL the way that you did.
Man, it's usually horrible injury came back or horrible performance come back.
Yeah.
He didn't quite have the definitive
Like you
of
said,
either one.
We don't know all the criteria
Yeah.
that goes into this and how all these voters think. But what we do know is that Joe Burrow went absolutely off this year. And
You think it would have gone to Darnold if
he did.
we would have
What
ended?
was he coming back from was always
Poor
the
performance.
question. And see, I don't
Forgotten
know.
guy,
I don't
that
know
kind of
the
thing.
weight of that with the voters. Like I hear what you're
Yeah.
saying, and I definitely do, but I
Yeah.
just don't know if that holds more weight. And obviously, it doesn't than a guy that went through some of the injury stuff that Joey B did a year ago.
All right. Well, speaking of MVPs, we're going to come back on Radio Row with a former MVP in Rich Gannon, and how I absolutely knew that he was going to be an MVP. That is next in 2 minutes. Rothman and Ice, sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare on the Fan.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Tri-State Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Tri-State Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Rothman and Ice treat their show just like a New Orleans gumbo. Throw enough crap in a pot, and something's bound to taste good.
Sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Live from Radio Row, here's Rothman and Ice.
All right, we are back on Radio Row, Super Bowl 59. What a treat for all of us here. Former MVP of the league. Of course, my Vikes gave up on him, literally assuring
They
he
sure
would become an MVP. Rich Gannon, good to have you.
It's great to be with you guys. How's everything going?
Everything's going great. We can't wait to tap your brain on a lot of things, but let's go back in time a little bit. Drafted by the Pats, correct?
Yeah,
but not as a QB?
No, so I was. It was a crazy story. I was in my apartment in Newark, Delaware, at the University of Delaware, and I get a call from the New England Patriots, one of the only teams that didn't work me out. And the call was from Dick Steinberg, who was the general manager, and Raymond Berry, who was the head coach at the time. And they had some good quarterbacks. They had Tony Eason and Mike Ramsey and Steve Grogan, and they had just come off a Super Bowl, and they call me on the phone. They say, hey, congratulations, we just drafted you, and we just want to find the best position for you. And I thought to myself, what? Like, what are you talking about? I'm a quarterback. And so I was so devastated that I called my dad, mom, and you know, some people that I was close with, and just said, like, this is really not good. So I called the Patriots back the next day and said I was going to go to law school. I had been accepted to law school. My dad was an attorney. I just didn't want to go somewhere where I knew I wasn't going to get a chance to make the team. And they traded me. They traded me 6 days later to the Minnesota Vikings.
Unbelievable. And, you know, I think about – so you grew up –
in Philadelphia.
So did you grow up going to Veterans, rooting for Dick Vermeil?
Yeah, no. So when I was growing up, the Eagles were really, really bad. And of course, when Dick Vermeil came in the late '70s, they became a really good football team and a fun team to watch. And Ron Jaworski's a dear friend of mine, and we play a lot of golf together. And so that's really when it began to turn. And but I was never really a fan of the Eagles, even though I grew up in Philadelphia, only because they were so bad when I was growing up. So I was more of a fan of certain players. Like I liked Roger Staubach and Fran Tarkenton, and I liked certain players more so than teams.
Take us inside the MVP season. It's an elite club to be in, right? We'll have another MVP crown tonight after the honor show, I believe. But what clicked for you that year?
Well, I'm excited for tonight. I'm one of the voters. I'm one of the 50 voters, and so I'm excited about how that's going to turn out. I think it's going to be very close between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I just talking to a number of the voters, I think it's going to be pretty close. But both had phenomenal seasons. For me, back in 2002, it wasn't something I was really thinking about. You know, we were having a good year. I was putting up some good numbers. Of course, I had the benefit of having Jerry Rice on one side and Tim Brown on the other. So it'd be hard not to win the MVP award when you're thrown to those guys. But it was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, that was a really difficult place to work. And I was on a Kansas City radio station the other day, and I played in Kansas City for 4 years for Marty Schottenheimer. That was an easy place to work. I mean, the level of professionalism, attention to detail, accountability was incredible. Some great players and great coaches. I went to the Raiders, and it was so dysfunctional. It was such a challenge because not so much because of the players or the owner. It was I'm sorry, not because of the coaches and the owners. It was the players. And it took us a while to turn over that roster and start bringing in the right type of players like Jerry Rice and Rod Woodson and John Perella and Trace Armstrong and those type of guys that really helped to change the culture and the environment in Oakland.
We are visiting with Rich Gannon, 2002 MVP of the NFL. You can hear him hosting the SiriusXM Blitz on SiriusXM Radio weekdays noon to 3. Your story to me is inspirational, and I'll tell you why. Because I think that there were certain times where you were having success where coaches gave up on you, and you never gave up on yourself. And I think it would have been easy to lose confidence when Denny Green says, hey, we got this guy Sean Salisbury, we're going to him. When you got to KC, you just mentioned, we're going to Elvis Gerbach. It's not like things were in the tank, Rich. You were passed over a couple times before your MVP ever happened, because I think you won the MVP, at 37, 38, something like that. Yep. And so give me a little bit of your memory on having to push through those times.
Yeah, I didn't come into the league with a silver spoon in my mouth. I just got done telling the story. I mean, I was drafted by the Patriots as a running back or whatever they were planning on using me for. So, I went to the Vikings, and Wade Wilson, Tommy Kramer were both there. Both had gone to Pro Bowl. And so, it took me a while to get onto the field. I wasn't ready to play as a young player, and so those couple of years of development were important. And then I finally got my opportunity. We changed coaches. Denny Green came in. We were 8-3, and they sat me down for Sean Salisbury. And I like Sean; he's a good man, but he was not the right guy, and he certainly was not better than me, and wasn't the right person at the time for the Vikings, as history would show. And it just really derailed our team, which was a really good team. I think we had a 3-game lead in the division at the time, and so putting me back in against the 49ers, it just was not good. And then they went to Sean in the playoff game, and he played horribly, and we lost to Washington at home. So, you don't get that many opportunities to win a division and get to the postseason and then just throw it away. Of course, they traded me. I was not going to come back, and they traded me, and I went to Washington. I tore my rotator cuff, and I was out of football a year. And so then I go to the Chiefs, and I was never the guy until in 1999, Al Davis and John Gruden basically gave me the keys to the car and said, hey, this is yours. And by that point, I had had enough. I had been through a lot of adversity and turmoil, and nobody really giving me a chance. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to be true to what I believe in. And if it ruffles some feathers, so be it. But that's what I did with the Raiders.
Yeah. You played in Kansas City. I want to ask you about the current quarterback in Kansas City. You've been in those huddles. You know what it takes to play at the highest level. What do you see in him, and what makes him such an elite guy?
I think he has so many of the qualities and characteristics that you love at the quarterback position. I think you start with toughness. I think physical, mental toughness. Patrick Mahomes has a bunch of that. Obviously, when you look at the physical skills, the arm talent, the feet, the athleticism, the ability to create and manufacture offense on his own, I think the game has slowed down for him so much so that, I don't want to say it's easy. I don't want to be disrespectful, but like he's rarely surprised by something he sees defensively. You don't put the tape on a Monday morning and go, oh, my gosh, Patrick didn't see that corner blitz off the edge and he got hit in the back of the head. Like he knows where his quick answer throws are. He understands protections. I think he's been in that same offense his entire career. But I just think the best thing about Patrick Mahomes, two things: his ability to handle success, no one's been better, and his ability late in games to just not flinch. Like if I was talking to a couple of the Eagles defensive players this week, and they said if they get the ball back and we're up by 3 and it's inside 2 minutes, it's not going to end well for us. Now, when the other team knows it, you're doing something special.
Yeah. Rich Gannon with us. All right, a couple quick stories I want to ask you because my young great co-host here would want to hear these. First of all, when you're in Kansas City, they do a People's Sexiest Man Alive cover.
Yeah.
And it's got actors on it. I mean, famous people, Harrison Ford and all that. And then in the corner, they did, I think, the most sexiest athlete within the People magazine. I believe, and you can tell me if the rumor is true, that it was supposed to be you and not Elvis Gerbach. Is that true? And how in the hell would they get that wrong?
NFL Films just did a story on it this past summer, and they interviewed Elvis and I for the story. So, no, it's well documented that a producer at the magazine was told to go to Kansas City and get pictures of this quarterback for the deal. I knew nothing about it. Of course, if I had, I would have talked to my agent and said, absolutely not. I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? But they came to Kansas City, and both of us were playing at the time, and they must have gotten a hold of the Chiefs, and the Chiefs said, yeah, we can get you Elvis, and the agent. So they took all these pictures. They came back, and the producer was like, wait a minute. What happened here? And I think they were too far down the road and too embarrassed to have to go back, and they just ran with the pictures.
Good Lord. All right. That's a trap.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's a trap. By the way, it kind of fits your storyline.
Yeah, right.
Always being passed over.
Yeah.
All right, the other quick one. You had Gruden, obviously, MVP season. You play in the Super Bowl against him. Is it also true that you guys didn't do enough to change your audibles, your plays? Did he technically, in the back of his mind, have such an advantage against you?
He did. I mean, I think that a couple things. First of all, he was the one that built this offense. He knew me as well as anyone. It's the worst decision Al ever made. How do you trade away your head coach after you're winning? We won 3 straight AFC West titles. We went to an AFC Championship game. We lost a Tuck Rule game. We lose a Tuck Rule game. I come back to Oakland, and he's in his office. I knew he was never coming back. Like he and Al couldn't get together on the contract. He had enough of dealing with Al, and he wanted out. And so Al traded him to Tampa, which was a horrible thing. But that was the last Super Bowl where we had the 1 week turnaround. So we didn't have the 2 weeks to prepare. We played on the AFC Championship game on Sunday night. We got on the plane the next day. We flew to San Diego. We spent the whole week catching up, and John spent a lot of it just really making sure that defense knew a lot of our calls. And so they knew some of them, and we changed some of them, but we fell behind, and we made mistakes, and we turned the ball over, and we played catch-up, and it's not the way you want to do it in the Super Bowl.
Before we let you go, got to get your pick on the Super Bowl, key matchups within this game between Philadelphia and Kansas City. How do you see it playing out?
I think the Eagles are going to run the ball and have success. I think these are two great teams. I think you go back to a couple years ago, 38-35. I kind of like that number. But as I told you before, in a got-to-have it critical situation, who do you trust more, Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes? I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes.
All right, he's picking KC. Rich Gannon, incredible story. I'm a big fan of you and your career. I wore the Vikes for you, my man.
You're the best.
Good to have you.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Rich Gannon with us, former NFL MVP quarterback, and he is absolutely awesome. What great stories there. When we come back, we'll dive back into Super Bowl 59, and maybe Patrick Mahomes might have a tough time targeting a certain receiver position. We'll tell you about that with our man Greg Cosell, senior producer at NFL Films. He's got the NFL matchups on ESPN with Sal Pal. We'll talk to him next. Rothman and Ice, live on the row, courtesy of Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare on the Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. Just freak the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
A system for every home and every budget at Logan AC and Heat Services. Get a free Trane furnace with the purchase of an air conditioner and tax credits up to $2,600. Schedule your free estimate now. Logan Services.
Hi, I'm Bob Capace for Worthington Jewelers. Valentine's Day is upon us. Don't be a loser and forget again this year. Here at Worthington Jewelers, my store, I'm Bob Capace. We're giving you 35% off 14-karat gold and diamond jewelry. And how about 20% off sterling silver jewelry? We have something for every budget. Shop local and ask for me. Bob Capace. Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver. Leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Rise and shine, jabronis.
Quite a show this morning.
There's only one place where Buckeye legends lay the smackdown. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekday mornings starting at 6.
Give me a juice box, Beyond.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a huge inheritance. But a phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard for a new one on us. Just trade in any phone from our top brands with select unlimited plans. $829.99 purchase with new smartphone line on select unlimited plans. Minimum $90 per month with auto pay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Less $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Trade-in terms apply. Payoff phone requires smartphone purchase and port-in with new smartphone line on select plan. Must provide most recent bill showing payoff amount of eligible phone. Additional terms apply.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Rothman and Ice are in New Orleans for the big football game that we're not legally allowed to say the name of. They're having more fun than Emeril Lagasse sucking heads off some fat crawdads. I guarantee.
Sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Here's Rothman and Ice.
All right, we're back on Radio Row, Super Bowl 59. And there are very few guys that you'd rather talk football with than this man right here, our friend Greg Cosell. NFL matchups on ESPN, works with Sal Pal, but you've been doing this for a lot of years, my man. Welcome back.
Thanks, guys. Good to be with you.
All right. We, the two of us, Maddie and myself, have not picked a winner yet. We're going to wait till this afternoon.
I've had to, so I'm on record. So
all right, but I want you to be, but convince us. Are you convicted in your pick?
No. I'm never convicted in my pick. And I think it's because of what I do watching tape. There's just so many variables. And, what I always say to people is all we have is what's happened up to this point for both teams when they have 2 weeks to prepare and they bring in all their scouts as well to help with preparation. The things will happen in this game that will be a little different in terms of what both teams do. Now, they can't step totally outside of what they are because this is what they've been practicing going back to OTAs, minicamp, training camp, all through the season. So they're not reinventing the wheel here, but there will be some different things that they do. So all we have to evaluate this game is what we have up until this point.
Greg, one of the big matchups that we've been talking about all week is this Kansas City defense.
Yep.
And their effort to slow down Saquon Barkley in this rushing attack. Looking at the film, both these teams coming into this one, how do you view that matchup?
Yeah, and I mean that's the big point, the 30,000-foot point. So now it gets down to, let's say, first down. What is Steve Spagnuolo going to do on first down? I think you'll see some five-man fronts. I think you'll see some reduced fronts to tie things up in the middle. He'll live with one-on-one on the outside, and he'll basically say to the Eagles, if you can beat us throwing the ball on first down outside the numbers, then you go ahead and give it a shot. And by the way, I think the Eagles will give it a shot because Spags loves to play man anyway and press man, and he'll take shots, with his receivers. So Hurts will go to Brown, maybe Smith, depending on what the matchup is. But I think the focus will be what Spags does with his fronts and his run blitzes on first down. And again, we don't know exactly what that's going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see some five-man front looks.
That's the interesting part, isn't it, Greg, that Spags versus Barkley, KC doesn't allow 100-yard rushers in the postseason. What is it?
I think it's
18 in a row, something like that. 18 in a row where a guy hasn't gone over 100. Now,
but doesn't it always seem inevitable when you watch the Eagles that Barkley at some point's breaking a 60-yarder?
But
it just seems like it's inevitable. I know.
Against Washington with those the first trash tackling,
the first play of the game. I mean, here the Commanders go 18 plays, control the ball for more than 7 minutes. Sure, they want a touchdown, but they still get a field goal. They probably think, okay, the game is kind of playing out to start the way we would like it to play out, and boom, Barkley first play goes 65 yards.
We saw Zach Ertz really have a big game against this Philadelphia defense in the NFC Championship game. Greg, when you looked at the tape, was that more game script because the game got out of hand and they had to throw passes? Or do you look at this game for Travis Kelce and say that this could be a monster Travis Kelce game? Is there something on the Philadelphia defense that's a weakness when it comes to tight ends?
No, they were actually very good against tight ends, and I don't think it's apples to apples, to be honest with you. I think, that game played out a certain way. They had, when they played man, they had Blankenship, the safety, on him at times. I'd be very surprised if you saw Blankenship on Kelce in this game. Maybe once it happens, based on a particular defensive call. But the Eagles are a nickel defense. I mean, they want to be in nickel with Cooper DeJean in slot, and I believe they will be versus 12 personnel versus two tight end sets, which the Chiefs play a good amount of, by the way. They probably play 35% of their offensive snaps at a two tight ends. That's what they've done up to this point over the last number of years. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Cooper DeJean, if they do play man, when they play man, Cooper DeJean be the matchup on Kelce. That would not surprise me.
Okay. We are visiting on Radio Row with the executive producer analyst at NFL Matchup, Greg Cosell, here on Rothman and Ice. Is there a matchup on both in this game, both sides, both teams, that you like the most as far as an advantage for each team?
Well, I'd say there's a matchup that I find really intriguing. When you watch the Eagles' defense, Jalen Carter, 98% of the time, is the left defensive tackle. Now, he'll line up at right defensive tackle, but very few snaps. So now what most offenses do is they slide their center to Jalen Carter to help the right guard. But the right guard for the Chiefs is Trey Smith, who's arguably the best right guard in the league. So the question is, do the Chiefs help Trey Smith or say, you know what, you're Trey Smith. You're going to block him one-on-one because we need to help our left guard, Mike Caliendo, who's the weakness of our offensive line. And by the way, Milton Williams, the other tackle for the Eagles, has been phenomenal. No one talks about him because Jalen Carter is Jalen Carter, but Milton Williams has been so good. And I don't think they want Milton Williams one-on-one versus Mike Caliendo. So I don't know that that's going to happen, but to me that's a really intriguing element to this game.
Is there somewhere in the game where you see a distinct advantage?
No, not a distinct advantage. I think that my sense is, and again, I could be dead wrong, I wouldn't surprise me to see the Eagles come out and throw a little bit more early. And by that, I don't mean they're going to have Jalen Hurts drop back 50 times. But I think that they know they're going to get one-on-one on the outside. We know McDuffie's a very good player, but A.J. Brown's a top 5 receiver in the league. Devonta Smith is really good. The other corner is Watson for the most part, a good player, but a beatable player. So it would not surprise me to see the Eagles take some shots early just to see how it plays out.
Greg, we were talking off the air about some of the Ohio State guys that are coming into this year's draft. But you brought up off the air Jeremiah Smith.
Because I met him.
And the freshman that he was. Talk about him or talk about one of the prospects you like for Ohio State coming out this year.
Yeah, well, I got a chance last year at the Maxwell dinner, which is last March. He was the high school player of the year. So I met him, and first of all, I didn't know anything about him other than his name, and I was kind of amazed at how tall he was because you don't normally see receivers 6'2", 6'3", and I was just so impressed with the kid because I talked to him for about 10 minutes, just as a kid, and so I went back home because it was in Atlanta, and I never look at high school footage, because it's high school footage, but I just wanted to see what this kid looked like because I heard so much about him. I felt like I was watching a kid play against like 6-year-olds. It was just so ridiculous. Of course, sometimes it seemed like that at Ohio State too. But and he can't come out for 2 years. But hey, it is what it is.
Who might surprise from Ohio State? I mean, we have the offensive lineman in Simmons. We have Emeka Buka, who
is going to be a really, again, people get caught up in who's a number one, who's a number two. I don't know if he's a quote-unquote, you're not going to put him in the category, or I wouldn't, of the Justin Jeffersons and the Jamar Chases, but I just think he's one of those guys that's going to be just a really good receiver. He's nuanced, he's detailed, he knows how to run routes, he catches the ball, he's got good size. To me, he's just a pro receiver. And again, now it gets down to what team drafts him. I'll give you an example. If he was put into the Lions offense and Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, by the way, was a 4th-round pick, okay? And if Buka was that guy instead of Amon-Ra St. Brown, he'd put up those kinds of numbers. And then people would say, oh, he's a number one. But if he was in a different offense that was totally different, he might catch 60 balls and for 700 yards. He'd be the exact same receiver. It's just a totally different offense. That's the way this stuff works.
Yeah.
All right, you said you were on the record. Who are you on the record with Sunday?
Well, I picked the Eagles 31-27, but not with a lot of conviction. I just, what? It's the O-line that I keep coming back to. That O-line weighs more than 1,700 pounds. Yeah, I think it's the biggest O-line in the history of the NFL, and they just wear you out. And like we said a moment ago, it seems inevitable Barkley's going to break one. Sometimes two, depending on the game. So, I just keep coming back to that. That might not be a deep thought, but that's what I come back to,
We may listen. I may piggyback it. We'll see. I've got a little bit of time. Greg, such a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Our friend Ross Tucker says this is all he does.
That's true.
Ball.
That's true.
No life, just football. Or life is football.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Enjoy your time. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Thanks, guys.
The one and only Greg Cosell, executive producer and analyst at NFL Matchup. We will come back on the road with Thomas Dimitroff, the former Atlanta GM, the man who built what he thought was a Super Bowl champ until Brady happened. Does that still haunt him? We'll ask him next. We are Rothman and Ice on Radio Row, sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare on the Fan.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh,
event is very touching. But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
They're trained. They're fired up. Let's do it. When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
It Ain't Right Tour 2025.
The poor mother is in the balcony, and the kids are down here with the father and his gumad. If this was the 80s, the kids would have been up there, and the parents would have been down here.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live on stage in Cleveland. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, Friday, February 7th. Get tickets now at rocketmortgagefieldhouse.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text CORE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CORE to 200-300 right now. For a link to your exclusive offer, text CORE to 200-300. That's CORE to 200-300. CORE to 200-300.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And everybody's had these pains, these little nicks, these things that you maybe had an injury when you were younger and you thought it went away. And then all of a sudden, as you get older, it starts to creep back. Doing everything, walking up the stairs, doing your favorite activities, golf, skiing, whatever it might be, the summer, the spring, the winter, it hurts. Hey, do not deal with it any longer. The hip, the knee, the shoulder, the back, whatever it is, there's good news. Go to QC Kinetics. They're groundbreaking treatments for that arthritis pain. They're going to make you feel better. The long-term relief, it's now possible. They're right here in Columbus under the leadership of Dr. Ray Tesner, founder of Grant Sport Medicine and a classically trained orthopedic surgeon. Don't wait. Make the call today. My dad and I did. His knee's starting to feel better. My knee feels better. They've got PRP treatments. They can change your life. I'm telling you right now. So go to qckinetics.com/Columbus for your free consultation or give them a call at 380-208-4544. It's not going to go away on its own. They've got 2 offices in Dublin and Gahanna, so check them out.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor. which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text TAP to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text TAP to 321321. That's TAP to 321321.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Cole Bartemus. Well, that was a useful win for Buckeye Hoops. Ohio State took down 18th-ranked Maryland on the home hardwood, 73-70. The Bucks were down by as much as 17 in this game. You may recall that earlier in the season, Maryland took Ohio State behind the woodshed and pounded them by 24, and it wasn't even that close. So last night's comeback was just what the doctor ordered to avoid the sweep. Bruce Thornton was on his game. He scored 31, dished out 6 assists, corralled 5 boards, and he did not leave the floor all night long. Also, the NFL honors were last night. Josh Allen took home the MVP award. Eric Armstead was named Walter Payton Man of the Year. And we have 4 new residents of Canton: Jared Allen, Sterling Sharp, Eric Allen, and Antonio Gates. Looking ahead to the first-year eligibles for next year, that class is loaded. Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees, Frank Gore, Jason Witten, along with some carryovers from this year's finalists who didn't make it, such as Luke Kuechly, Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, Terrell Suggs, and Eli Manning.
Are you working? Because we barely are. It's Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football and quiet quitting. The Fan. Radio Row is full of the most pathetic, publicity-hungry has-beens in the sports world. That's why Rothman and Ice fit right in.
Sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Live from New Orleans, it's Rothman and Ice.
All right, back on Radio Row, Super Bowl 59, Rothman and Ice, Anthony Rothman, Matt Hayes. And I got to tell you, we have targeted some people down here before. This is an absolute treat. Thomas Dimitroff, former Falcons GM, Sumer Sports. You're doing so much with data collection. I can't wait to pick your brain. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Love the energy here. You guys are rolling.
Thanks, man. We appreciate. Did you grow up in Cleveland?
I didn't grow up there. I was born in Barberton, Ohio, so Akron, Canton. My dad coached at Miami of Ohio, so we were there. And then Cleveland, when he moved back there, I lived there for a number of years. Worked for the Browns a little bit. Worked on the grounds crew. You guys, that's a whole funny story. I didn't.
All right, tell me.
Funny thing is, I get calls when I was a general manager of the Falcons. I would get random calls from people. Hey, man, that's really cool. How did you do that? And they really thought that I went from spreading seeds, so to speak, on the field and mowing the lawn to getting a GM job. It wasn't that. I was in between jobs, and I stopped by. And my dad was working for the Browns at the time. Scott Pioli and I became friends, and I would work the grounds during the day, and in the evening I'd go up and evaluate for 3 or 4 hours, and that's how I developed the Bill Belichick and Scott Pioli relationship.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We couldn't wait to talk to you about Cleveland's current situation with this whole Myles Garrett trade request. I know Andrew Berry has come out and said, we're not trading. You know what it's like to be in that seat and maybe even be in this position. Take us through what this is going to be like for Andrew Berry in the coming weeks and months as their star player wants out.
And by the way, let me say, I love Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. I was flying with Kevin the other day. I think that they're really solid, obviously very smart guys, and unfortunately they've had so much revolving around them, right? Just so much stuff going on right now. So kudos to them that they handle it with tact and class as they do. This isn't I'm not here just to stroke them. I'm just saying that's impressive, because what happens when you're a GM and you see that in a head coach, your initial is the ego is, well, screw you, go. Well, then you realize I'm not going to say that in this situation because this guy's one of the best out there in how many years, right? Yeah. And then you start thinking, okay, let me damage control and let me see how we can make this better, right? That's what I'm sure they're doing. But the reality is, if he continues to come and this isn't the case, it's funny. I did not know Andrew came out and said they're not moving him, because I think you step back and you start thinking, okay, if this truly goes awry and we have to move him, this is a Khalil Mack issue, right? Potentially a Khalil Mack trade. 2 1s and maybe a 3 and whatever it is. It's a lot, and it's a cap situation that can be beneficial in the end, I guess, or not beneficial. So they're thinking about all these things. It is such a complicated situation, especially when it's a guy like that, right? So that's how I feel right now, that there are teams out there like Washington and my good friend Dan Quinn who have a quarterback that can manage a big-time trade like that with 2 ones. You can't just be a team that's scraping around trying to find a quarterback and dole out 2 ones in my mind.
We're talking with the 2-time Executive of the Year in the NFL, Thomas Dimitroff, with us, former Falcons GM here on Rothman and Ice. All right, so with Sumer Sports, you knew all this data. You tell me, is this a draft, if Cleveland makes that pick at 2, that they should take a swing at a quarterback with the guys that are in it right now? Or would you say, if you got to move Garrett, you may as well maybe get out of 2? Like, how do you read that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think obviously Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, if you're talking about the 2, they're talented. No one's questioning that. Are they the same talent as Jaden Daniels? In my mind, respectfully to them, I don't believe so. I think this is a draft where I feels comfortable where those guys are, 5 to 10, not 1 to 5. Those are different areas. That's not going to be the case. Someone is going to come up and take them in that area. I get that. I'm just saying more to me. I think where Cleveland is, 4, right? Is that
2?
2. Sorry, not 2.
Yeah.
4. I've talked to everyone. 2. That's a big move right now. And I mean, ideally, it's always good to think, okay, we're going to move back and we're going to pick up an O-lineman and continue to build that O-line, which needs to be done there, right? You trade back to 8 to 12, and you can pull in quite a bit there right now. This might be a little bit of a different year for it, again, because the general consensus and the statistical analysis is this is not as strong of a draft class as last year. So it's to me, it's going to be interesting. I don't know yet. I still would love to dig back in and see, doing all of my research. I also interviewed for the Tennessee job here, and that was a number 1, and I was salivating thinking that I'd have an opportunity to pick at 1. We picked Matt Ryan at 3. That was the highest I've ever picked. Different situation, but at 1, oh my God, it just feels like that's a weight of the world. Remember, guys, when you're a GM, you are forever evaluated on your ability to acquire a quarterback, whether that's draft, of course, or free agency, and it's managing the quarterback situation. It doesn't matter how smart you are and what you've done at different levels and different positions. In the end, all of us as GMs know I am going to be judged for for posterity, basically, in how I took care of the quarterback situation. This is a big quarterback situation for this club.
Speaking of taking care of the quarterback situation, I could not wait to ask you about what the Atlanta Falcons did last year at the draft. Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles injury. They hit him with a new contract. Then we get to draft day, and they draft Michael Penix. You ran the show there for a while. What did you think of that decision at the time?
I think at the time I went to, besides getting critical, and it was a polarizing move, we all know that, I get that, but I went to, knowing Arthur Blank, knowing that organization, knowing that Arthur wanted desperately to win games for not only himself, but for the fan base. He is one of the most loyal to the fan base I've been around. So my thought was he was going to give back as much as he could, and people can throw their darts on the money. This is me thinking about this. Let's get a guy in here that can win us 6 games. Believe me, I mean, as much as people are excited about where Penix is, I don't believe Michael was going to come in and win 6 games. Isn't that what Kirk won? I mean, those were legit wins. Somehow he tailed off quickly, and I get that. So that's where I was going. Now, on the other side, when I step back, what I'm wondering is how you handle that, because you have Kirk and you're telling Kirk that, and Penix that, you're going to be here for 3 years or whatever. All of that stuff that was talked about and how it was delivered was a little bit different, right? How do you manage that? How do you manage it with the 2 quarterbacks? How do you manage it with your team and your fan base? So in the end, what I'm saying is I'm glad they have Michael that they can build with. That was an expensive 6 wins, I guess, is what I'm saying.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Thomas Dimitroff with us, former Falcons GM. Obviously faced his mentor, Bill Belichick, in the Super Bowl. That's a tough one. That's got to keep you up at night still.
Still does, man.
Yeah.
I think about it, and when I thought about this year coming back and having some interviews and dipping back in and see if I could get back in, it's not because of where all the monies are or where the position and rank and all that. It has everything to do with wanting to build a football team again and next time winning the Super Bowl. You're right. I mean, literally, I still interact with Arthur Blank on it every once in a while. Just randomly, we'll text each other because it's forever ingrained in our psyche. And, look, it wasn't easy. It was a lot of lessons learned. Here's Dan Quinn learning from it, and he goes and he's doing a heck of a job, resurrecting, of course, in Washington.
Is it just a rumor that these GMs all talk to each other, or you can pick up the phone, call anybody, or do you have to have a trust relationship? If I got screwed over once, I'll never work with you again. Like, where Where is that fraternity?
Fraternity's strong, man. It's one of those situations in my mind that I think you have to attempt to be as close to win-win in this generation. Not back in the day, you'll go back 30 or 40 years, it wasn't the way, right? You could do whatever it seemed that way. This group, Howie Roseman is a tyrant, man. He does things really, really well, and he's got, the trust on and respect on our level. I'm talking about more in the 50s GMs is what I'm talking about versus the young guys. I think the young guys are intimidated by dealing with Howie. So when Howie calls, they're like, oh, my gosh, is he going to work a deal on me? Is he going to work me on this? And rightly so. Funny little story. Howie and I have known each other and gotten along, and we were in the same time, raising through the ranks. But he would always call me early on in the process when we were both GMs and ask me for deuces. Everything was a second round. I'm like, Howie, I can't give you a second round for a back-end free agent. It's not how it works. And he's like, man, so kudos to him. My point there is he was a go-getter and always was focused on doing whatever you need to do. The fraternity's real. The fraternity is right. You have to have a people relationship in this league. If you don't, you can get screwed so much.
How often did you sit down with Arthur and the decisions, the meetings, and what those are like? The reason why I'm bringing it up, I'm sure you heard about the Luka Doncic trade. Sure. That just happened, and it seems like the GM is taking the brunt of that. Talk about the GM to owner communication and what that's like on a daily and weekly basis.
Right. So you think about GMs and you think about owners and you think that, your relationship needs to be incredibly strong with the head coach, of course. But you need to be incredibly clear and you need to be regularly communicative with the owner. If you don't, and you don't keep the owner up on whatever you're at a high level, of course, they don't want to have them bringing them into the minutia. It is vital that you communicate with them, and if you don't, obviously it can be thrown around in your back at you when you're not communicating. When the guys are out there saying, "Well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to play a hard ass role against this owner," the owner, it's his train set, man. If you're not on top of it and you don't respect that, you're not going to be around long.
Yeah. We have a lot of guys on from Sumer Sports. We love it. We have it on our show in Columbus. I'm glad you're a part of it. And is your phone always ringing still?
It's ringing, and you're talking about with regard to getting back in?
Yep.
Yeah, look, my plan was to stay out 1 year and then get back in, and then I got involved with Sumer Sports with Paul Tudor-Jones, big money guy who really wanted to create something. We love what we're doing here, but every day of my life I think about building football teams and putting it together, and so I take opportunities when I think they're the right opportunity.
It's that grounds crew kid in you. He's got to get to work. He's got to get that shovel and keep digging.
That's right.
And tell Roseman next time we're not filming Draft Day 2 over here. I need a legit something. Who you got on Sunday?
You know what? I'm supposed to answer that Sumer AI brain says that it's Philly by 3. So I'm not going to say Thomas Dimitrov said that. And back to Howie. Howie's got a little bit of a loving mobster to him, and he finds out when I say stuff against him. So I'm just going to keep it clean.
Thomas, this was one of our favorites. We've been targeting you for a couple years. Good luck to you,
guys.
and continued success. You got it. Hope we see him again very soon in this league. Thomas Dimitrov, the man who built the Falcons team that should have taken down Brady if they would have just ran the damn ball. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to come back with Brad Hopkins, the former All-Pro tackle, the former Illini, and we'll ask him. I think he took a souvenir away from Ohio State during his playing days. That's next. We are Rothman and Ice on Radio Row, Super Bowl 59, sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life, so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
No matter where you are, Coughlin is there, in-store or online. CoughlinCars.com. 13 new car brands, over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, 16 convenient locations for sales, service, and parts, plus 4 state-of-the-art collision centers. CoughlinCars.com. Shop locally owned, CoughlinCars.com. Coughlin has the car for you.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is real simple and effective. It's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Scotty Vegas here. Big game this Sunday, which means parties, drinks, and food. The exact scenario Awaken 180 was built for. Why? Because you eat to lose weight. Do it once, enjoy the process, then receive free support for life. Awaken180weightloss.com.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When you leave a job, don't leave your 401k. Grow your investment without the fees associated with 401k plans. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
The Buckeye Show.
I heard Jake Diebler on Bruce Thornton. He's the best in the country, you know? There is no one I ever want to have running point.
The Buckeye Show.
Presented by Coors Light and sponsored by Care Source.
Weeknights at 6 on The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Tracking the sunshine out there today. High temperatures will be around 35. Increasing clouds tonight, and it is cold with a low of 26. We are tracking the chance of some freezing rain heading into your Saturday. Impacts will be worse between about 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Rothman and Ice treat their show just like a New Orleans gumbo. Throw enough crap in a pot, and something's bound to taste good.
Sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Live from Radio Row, here's Rothman and Ice.
We are back on Radio Row, Super Bowl 59 in NOLA, and very pleased to be joined by a former All-Pro offensive tackle for the Tennessee Titans, our man Brad Hopkins, also a Super Bowl guy himself, but unfortunately was in the 1 yard short game. I had to do it. I'm sorry. I know it's got to be tough. Does it keep you up at night still or no?
No, because it was one of the more memorable Super Bowls in Super Bowl history.
Yep.
you're always going to remember the team that came up a yard short. Very rarely do I mention anyone talking about, the greatest show on turf and how they ran away with that game in Super Bowl 34. It didn't happen because it was such a closely contested game coming down to the final play, of which we actually were on offense, basically.
23-16 the final against the Rams in Super Bowl 24.
Exactly.
Mike Jones tackle on Kevin Dyson.
Yep. Your memory serves you correct.
From your vantage point, where were you? How did you see that unfold?
I was providing the best protection for Steve McNair he ever had. He had a nice, clear vision of the slant route that Kevin was running. And unfortunately, Kevin wasn't able to see that Mike Jones had basically broke coverage and stayed right in the middle of the field when he was supposed to be ran off and not be in that specific area. So it would have been a simple catch, maybe run 2 or 3 yards. He'd have been in the end zone. We'd have tied the game up. And who knows what would have happened after that. But Mike Jones did make one of the more historic tackles that basically cemented the Los Angeles Rams, the St. Louis Rams, winning the Super Bowl.
We do our show in Buckeye Country, and I couldn't wait to ask you about Eddie George and what it was like playing with him, blocking for him. What was that time like?
Well, first off, I love reminding Edward George that through my tenure as a Fighting Illini, I never lost to the Buckeyes. And as a matter of fact, at Ohio State Stadium there, what is it, Buckeye, what is it called?
Ohio Stadium. The shoe, sir.
I actually had a mouthpiece guard that was on the field, and I made sure that I scooped up some of that turf when we left to show ownership when I took it back to Champaign. So I always remind Eddie of that. And then, of course, Eddie's retort is what? Him basically winning the Heisman and running all over us the next year. So it's a love and take, but first off, Eddie is one of my closest friends, even to this day. He is someone that helped cement our legacy as a team to be contended with during his tenure as an Oiler and as a Titan. So I'll always have love for my little brother. We're both born in the month of September. We both think alike. And he's done a tremendous job transitioning himself after the game from a theologian to a businessman to now a coach at the HBCU level. So he's done a phenomenal job, not only with his professional career, but also his post-professional career.
Yeah. King Eddie for us in Columbus, for sure.
King Eddie.
That's
I'll never call him that, but I understand.
We are visiting with the two-time Pro Bowler, the offensive tackle, Brad Hopkins, also, as you already guessed, the Fighting Illini and one of their proud alum. All right, so give me your take on Super 59 here. The Eagles have what some people say is the best offensive line in the game. They've got a super weapon in Saquon. Is that the secret recipe to getting it done on Sunday?
Well, it depends how you're looking at this game. Are you one that's looking at the Chiefs basically achieving history and winning a third Super Bowl in a row? Some people have Chief exhaustion. They're tired of seeing the successes of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I am one of those. Now, when you look at a team that could possibly make that not happen, it would be the best defense in the league, held by the Philadelphia Eagles, and the best ground attack in the league, led by Saquon Barkley. We can talk about Jalen Hurts and the weapons that he has on the outside with Devontae Smith and, of course, A.J. Brown, former Titan. But when you have that kind of balance, when you have that kind of ability to play physical at the line of scrimmage, they're a hard out. Okay? Now, the Chiefs are a stout rush defense. They're built to slow down a guy like Saquon Barkley. But what Saquon Barkley has done consistently is been patient enough to take what that giant offensive line gives him and then hit the hole with explosion and come up with those 50-plus yard runs that ultimately put points on the board and the other team's offense in the pickle of trying to keep up. So I think that when you look at the very first play from the NFC Championship game where Jalen Hurts or Jalen Daniels got put on his back, that is reflective of what this team has been able to do, not only in the postseason, but consistently throughout the regular season of attacking the other team's quarterback and making it harder for him to go through a progression and execute that offense. And I kind of see that happening this weekend.
One thing I couldn't wait to ask you about is the tush push and the execution.
We don't call it the tush push.
The brotherly shove.
Thank you.
The brotherly shove. You played down there in the trenches. When you look at Philadelphia and how they've been able to execute that play at the highest level, what does that take in your mind? The offensive line, Jalen Hurts, the whole crew to continue to play at a high level doing that.
Well, we can reinvent what it actually is all we want to. And I know that there's a guy behind the quarterback that's actually pushing him, but then creates this whole new thing called the tush push. No, it's a quarterback sneak. Because where does it start? It starts with the leverage that the offensive line has, and if they get that kind of leverage to be able to push that D-line back just 1 yard, which is usually when you run a sneak, then it's more successful. I look at Jason Kelsey when he gave an example. This is a guy that when he snaps the football, he never puts his offhand on the ground, right? But he does during the tush push because it's important for you to get that kind of leverage. We're all just thinking about just diving off to see if we can't get below the guy and start pushing. Where the Eagles have an advantage is having a quarterback that squats 600-plus pounds. So I don't think he really needs anybody's hand on his butt to get that extra yard. And he's also a smart enough quarterback, right, to read the leverage of the offensive line that it's actually getting that kind of momentum. And they're giants as it is, okay? You got Mekhi Becton in there that's 300 and 400 pounds or whatever else that should be playing tackle. That's the left guard that's creating space and getting that kind of momentum. It's just kind of hard to keep that guy out of a yard's distance. It's almost impossible.
All right, Bruce Matthews, Eddie we talked about, McNair, Wycheck, these guys that you were in the huddle with. Any good stories, anything funny that you recall when you think of those days with those guys in that huddle?
So let's make some comparisons between Steve McNair and Jalen Hurts. The one thing that we talked about with Jaden Daniels was what? His calm, collective demeanor, unflappable in anxious situations, right? Jalen Hurts, you can't read anything about what this guy's thinking from his face. He might score a touchdown. He looks the same way. He might just throw a pick. He looks the same way, right? He has that levity. Steve had the same kind of levity. I remember we were playing the Giants in Meadowlands Stadium, and we were down by a touchdown. Actually, we weren't even down by a touchdown. I think we were down by 3 or 4 points, and it was just under 2 minutes. It was raining outside, just an ugly game, right? Steve comes in with his hands in his hand warmers into the huddle because we're just coming out of a TV timeout, and he's got this smile on his face. And he said, why all the long faces? Because he knew the situation, the adversity that we were facing. But in that moment, he calmed us all down just with those few words, why the long faces? Because it brought a chuckle to everybody's face, right? And we went down and drove that football down, scored a touchdown, and walked out of Meadowlands a winner because of that moment. Because we didn't have a guy that believed that the moment was bigger than him. He had that same kind of calm demeanor that we're seeing a lot of young quarterbacks have nowadays. Think about that. Jalen Hurts is going into his second Super Bowl inside of 4 years. You don't get there just by happenstance. You get there because you're able to adjust. You're able to do some of the things that an offensive coordinator not only would require you to do, but adjust to be able to do. Yeah. You got to be able to make those adjustments, and those guys do it the best. And Steve was one of those guys, too.
You mentioned the former tight end A.J. Brown, now in Philly. I want to ask you about a former tight end head coach in Mike Vrabel, former Buckeye, now back in the game, being the head coach of the New England Patriots. Your thought on that fit for him?
Well, first off, I love putting hands on Mike Vrabel. He never got near the quarterback when he was rushing on the outside. I loved that about him. No, he was one of those guys that had a tremendous motor. We were very competitive in our matchups together. But the guy knows football. And the thing about it that he knows the most is how to hold your players accountable because he knows football. And because he's won at the highest level over and over and over again. So when you're a player and you're being coached by him, you can't throw anything by him. There are no fastballs to him. He knows exactly what it takes, the process, the protocol, the discipline it takes to be a winner. And he also knows when you're not living up to that standard. So when you can create a culture like Mike Vrabel was coach of the year when he was with the Tennessee Titans at one point in time, okay? You can talk about him not being there anymore and being available for the Patriots to even have as a coach, but the fact that he led the Titans to some of their best years since Jeff Fisher was the coach and we were there, that's not by coincidence. Yeah. This dude knows X's and O's. He knows football.
If some guys out there think that their best years are behind them,
they probably are.
We have urged we've urged people to go to Low T Center and get their numbers. With the numbers, there's power in the education. Give me your take on that for the guys listening out there that might think they're not feeling their best. That may be the reason why.
You're sitting around wondering, gosh, why am I lethargic? Why do I feel like taking a nap? Why do I not have just the same vigor, the same approach to life that I had when I was younger? Oh, it must be getting old. Yeah, but there are things that can affect that. You know what I mean? And first off, finding out what your numbers are, getting a baseline is important. I mean, screening is important as you get older in almost everything. Cancer screening, obviously testosterone level screening, get your TRT done, or at least getting on some sort of therapeutic regime that allows you to recoup those things that you're losing naturally with age. So finding out where you are and then implementing a plan. That will be the best course in getting back to this healthier person that you know you can be, especially if you know that you're dealing with some of those issues I talked about. Moodiness. Don't nobody want to deal with your moodiness. Find out why you're moody.
That's right.
Find out why you're lethargic. Find out why it is that you're just not seeing life in the same way that you had before. Get your woman back. These are things that can affect you when you just finally find out what your numbers are and implement a plan.
Book it at lowtcenter.com. Our guy Brad Hopkins, while Eddie's polishing his Heisman, you take care of those. You take care of those Illabucks, my friend. All 4 of them. Those wooden turtles. I'm sure they're on your mantle.
Goodness, yes, love it. No, I still got that grass in my mouthpiece too. For sure.
Brad, it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Now, who you taking Sunday?
I got
officially.
I got the underdog. Because first off, Saquon Barkley is going to break Terrell Davis's record of the postseason yardage. Right? He only needs 30. I mean, if he got 35, that will be a terrible game that Saquon Barkley had because the dude ain't going to rush for less than 100 yards, in my opinion. Plus, if you do keep him throwing 100 yards, you won't keep him to 100 all-purpose yards. You stop him at the line of scrimmage, he's probably going to catch it in the flat, maybe in some kind of short route, some over situation. But they're going to find ways to incorporate him. And he's got 2 receivers on the edges that would love to help take over a ball game. So while we're talking about, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes being the wizard, the magician, all this other stuff, poppycock. This is a neutral playing field. You're down here in New Orleans. Philadelphia fans travel like no other. And I think the Eagles, with the stoutest defense and with the best rush game, will come away victorious.
Final words. We'll give them to you. Brad Hopkins, our guy. Enjoy it, my man.
All right, take care.
You too. Brad Hopkins, former All-Pro tackle from the Illini, here on Radio Row. When we come back, we just keep cruising them through the car wash. Harry Douglas, the former Falcon receiver, is the former Bird picking the birds in green. Find out in 2 minutes right here on Radio Row. Rothman and Ice, sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare on the Fan.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and switch to the expensive shampoo with amino acids. Sure, you don't know what those are or why you need them, but it sounds very impressive. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can massage it into your scalp every day. Now, if only you can get people to lean toward your head to smell those aminos. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shampoo, Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The New Year's celebration has come and gone, but my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin are still offering those great deals. Rich is sticking with rates starting as low as 0% and leases starting from only $249 a month. Test drive the Prologue, the new all-electric SUV from Honda. And how about the very popular CR-V LX all-wheel drive? A 25 lease is only $349 a month for 36 months with $19.99 down. See the dealer for all these amazing details. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Matty's bosom is a little less robust than it used to be. It's really put a cramp in his bead gathering. Live from New Orleans, it's Rothman and Ice.
All right, we are back on Radio Row, Super Bowl 59, Rothman and Ice. What a treat to get a man with a pair of hands here at the Super Bowl. Radio Row, Harry Douglas, host of Freddie and Harry, 3 to 7 Eastern on the ESPN Radio Network. My man, good to have you.
Let me slap my microphone up, guys. I'm excited to be here, okay?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people when it comes to Radio Row, they're like, oh, I got to go to all these stations and do media. Oh, I embrace this. I love this. I love talking ball. I love talking period. Man, let's have some fun.
Yeah,
why not?
Let's do it. So this is the deal. We've got 2 very good teams, 2 very experienced teams, and everybody that sits down between us says the same thing. I love the Eagles roster, top to bottom. I take them every Sunday except one Sunday, this one. Are you in that group?
Yeah, 100%. And it's because, number one, of the experience, what history has told us when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. And the attention to detail is something I've been bringing up when it comes to the Chiefs roster. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be the best. But if you do your job the way it's supposed to be done and you make the play when your number is called, like Justin Watson did on a 2-point conversion. Hey, Justin, we don't need you to go out there and catch 10 passes. But when your number's called and we need this 2-point conversion, make the play. Hey, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Same thing.
We don't need you to catch 5. But the one across the middle that we need you to catch, and we need it to be an explosive play. So that's the thing about this team. When guys are asked to make the plays when they're necessary and need to be made, they're able to do that. And that's been the difference between Kansas City winning these games and the opponents that the Kansas City Chiefs have played the last few years. And the quarterbacks, look at Josh Allen. The supporting cast let him down. Right? You look at that defense of Buffalo, getting ran through when it came to man coverage on pick routes over and over again. The defense didn't live up to their capabilities. You draft the tight end in the first round of Dalton Kincaid, and I don't want to hear people sit up here tell me that it's a tough catch. You're drafted in the first round. You make the play.
I'm not going to – I'll just interrupt you for a quick second. First of all, shame on CBS for waiting 10 minutes for us to see that replay in general. I didn't know how close it was. That was there to be made in that game, an AFC title game. I was upset about that.
You have to make that play, and then you look at the previous week with the Baltimore Ravens. Even though it wasn't a Chief they were playing, right? Mark Andrews, a guy that's a veteran that you count on. Hey, we get it that Mark Andrews is a great player, but you had a fumble, you had 2 drops, and the one that's the most glaring is the one that was the 2-point conversion.
He's a big Ravens guy.
You got to make the
tough
play.
night for me.
And
Harry.
if you're Lamar, you can't turn the football.
Can't do it, man. Not in the playoffs, as you know more than we do. Let's talk about the Super Bowl a little bit more. Take us inside what you think is the most important matchup in this. Is it in the trenches? Is it on the outside? Is it an individual matchup? KC, Philly, how they're lining up. How do you feel about this?
I think, number one, Steve Spagnuolo as a defensive play caller, figuring out how he can minimize the run game. Don't allow Philadelphia to be comfortable. Force Jalen Hurts to beat you with his arm. And the reason why I say that, man, it is demoralizing for a defense that you know 1,000% that the run game is coming, and you felt like you've prepared all week, and then the first play of the game, like 2 weeks ago in the NFC Championship game, goes 60 yards for a touchdown. Like, that's demoralizing, man. So I think that's the number one thing. Also, I think when it comes to Jalen Hurts, you got to be prepared for the blitz. I was watching the game from last year, the Monday Night Football game, and the amount of blitzes that Trent McDuffie got sent on was unbelievable. Like, so Spags is going to blitz you, but he also has 2 weeks to prepare for this game. So you may see something unorthodox. It may be a new flavor today, and you may see the same thing from Andy Reid as an offensive guy, too.
Absolutely. We are talking to the former All-American and Louisville Hall of Famer, Harry Douglas, with those hands. All right, let's attack the other side of this thing a little bit and the Saquon factor. He's been so great. Yes, KC could load up, like you say, and force Jalen to beat him, but you cannot leave touches on the ground. You got to give this guy touches. So you tell me, Saquon going to have a big game? What is a big game? What would be defined as a game he has to have for the Eagles to win?
So I think we also have to look back in history and Steve Spagnuolo as a defensive play caller for the Chiefs. There has not been a guy in a playoff setting that has rushed for over 100 yards. Now,
that's true.
You're also going against a guy that just rushed for 2,000 yards and came close to breaking Eric Dickerson's 40-year record rushing-wise. I do believe the Eagles will have some success rushing the football. It's about how much, though, and how early. You know, if Saquon can have one of these explosive runs, and I view explosive runs as 10-plus runs. If he can have a 10-yarder, a 15-yarder, a 13-yarder, and then, boom, here comes a 60 or the 40-yarder, then I think the Eagles are going to win the game. If the Chiefs can minimize that run game, I'm telling y'all right now, I don't think the Eagles are winning this game.
Okay, I want to bring you into our neck of the woods in Cincinnati. Philadelphia is a team that paid their quarterback, paid their 2 top wide receivers. The Bengals are going to pay Jamar Chase. I think we all know that. Do you think that they should pay T. Higgins as well and keep that trio together, or would you go down another route and use that money elsewhere up and down your roster?
No, I'm paying T. Higgins. Here's why. You let Joe Mixon out the door. And that was a huge mistake by Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon, I think he's missed a lot more than people are actually talking about in Cincinnati last season. Because now everything is on Joe's shoulders. And I love Chase Brown, but he's not Joe Mixon. It's something about that attitude and having a guy in the backfield that beat Patrick Mahomes along with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. That's what they're missing. Now, the problem they're going to run into is defensively, you have to be better. And I love Lou Anarumo as a defensive play caller, but the Bengals had to do what they had to do. They had to let him go because the defense was the reason why the Cincinnati Bengals didn't make the playoffs. So, but I'm paying T. Higgins.
Okay. You got to convince your guy Chris Canty what you just said. You didn't think that Joe Burrow...
Oh, we have this conversation all the time. We just had the conversation last night at dinner, too.
The only thing I would... And listen, he's dug in now, and he loves the battle of talking about it. We talked to him today. And it's a fine line between who's elite and who's franchise. Like, he'll admit he's a franchise quarterback, but he's not elite. Like, I can't get him to understand that he only plays on one side of the ball. And I decision-making at times, yes. Critical turnovers, yes. I think you nailed it. In this offense, he's asked to do everything, and he was put in a position with his defense being so bad that he knew he had to go out and score 38 a game to compete. And
that's the sad part, though. Like, if we have a quarterback, you would say to yourself, if we score 27 in a game, most likely we're going to win the game. Not the case with Cincinnati. You can score 27, but they're giving up 30. You can score 35, but they're giving up 38. Mm-hmm. That's a bad place to be. Like, if it's
an
Cincinnati
MVP
Bengals.
year, he single-handedly kept them alive for the playoffs. And I looked at Canty and I said, "You're hanging your argument on game one, where they scored 10, like 1 out of 7. Like, you can't do that." Now he has his own. He's an elite guy himself.
So Joe threw for over 4,900 yards, had over 40 touchdowns.
He doesn't care.
And 9 interceptions.
I know. And Canty seems to think that he pointed to all the mistakes, the fumble against Kansas City, the interception against.
It was the Ravens. But I would also say that's also Jamar Chase's fault. As a wide receiver, you don't ever let a DB cross your face. As a wide receiver, you're supposed to fight and cross the DB's face. You're never supposed to let a guy come intercept that ball like that.
Listen, we think they're great. We think he's great, obviously. But to Chris, he's got to prove it still to get to a certain level. I don't know. I asked him, how does he define elite? And Matty, he just kind of... Was it MVP or something?
He said no All-Pros, no MVPs, none of those things on the resume.
But I would also say this, right? Because I do have tremendous amount of respect for Chris Canty. Chris Canty won a Super Bowl.
He did.
Right? And he was able to be
against the best,
the greatest of all time in Tom Brady. Now, I just believe that Joe Burrow's elite.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. Let's stay in the AFC North. What do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers should do at quarterback?
Justin Fields.
Okay.
If it's not Justin Fields, then go try to get Sam Darnold.
Okay.
And I get it. If you don't get Justin Fields, sometimes you might have to do things out of the realm of the norm to be able to get out of the lull that you've been in as an organization. Mm-hmm. But I like Justin. I think he also has room to grow. His first 6 games, 4-2. 5 touchdown passes to 1 interception, 5 rushing touchdowns. We've seen the run game be drastically different with him at the quarterback position for real, too. And I think their red zone wolves will be better if Justin Fields is in the lineup. So I will go with Justin. If you don't go with Justin, then try to get Sam Darnold.
Okay.
He is Harry Douglas, a rising star certainly in our profession here, and he is on ESPN Radio. You can hear him in the afternoons, 3 to 7, with his man Freddie on the ESPN Radio Network. Harry, it's been great, man. All those seasons with the Falcons, the few with the Titans, 10 years in this league. That's not for the meek. You did it, man. You did the job really well. We appreciate you.
The most important thing is that I love ball.
Absolutely. That's right. So do we. Harry Douglas, the former Falcon, with us here on Radio Row. We will come back with a Buckeye Bulletin. What a comeback by Jake Diebler's boys last night. The confidence, he says, is boiling. You'll hear it. Rothman and Ice. On Radio Row, sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare on the Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey guys, it's Timmy Hall. This ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is Super Bowl 59. So get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting that Lombardi trophy, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to go for 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code TheFan971. That's code TheFan971 for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Ohio only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron, look what I invented.
Jerry, you're wearing a cape.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What is it that you promise our customers, Aaron?
We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Do you know who does that, Aaron?
We do?
Superheroes do that, Aaron. Superheroes!
I'm guessing you make capes for everyone?
That's right. Every plumber, electrician, and HVAC technician. But I'm not done, Aaron. I'm not done.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Now I'm inventing jetpacks so we can fly to the rescue like proper superheroes. Now say your line again.
We come through for you when you need us to?
No, say it like this. We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Jerry.
Yeah, Aaron?
How about we put those capes in the closet until you get the jetpacks perfected?
We'll look right when we take flight.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161, home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission. We have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
Join our resident gambling degenerates Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas for On the Money Sunday morning at 9.
Presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
All the action, none of the responsibility. The Fan.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LEARN for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LEARN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LEARN.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Feeling the chill? Call the experts at Logan Services now for hot deals on Train furnaces, including 0% APR for 60 months.
13 on the shot clock in a tie game at 70. Thornton now below center circle. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Thornton moves to the right point. Thornton dribbling right to the key. 5 on the shot clock. Thornton throws a 3 right to the key. Banks it in. Bruce Thornton with 7.4 seconds to play. 31 for Bruce Thornton, and Ohio State leading 73-70. How about that?
How about that? Paul Keel's on the call. Buckeyes come back down 17, I believe, in the first half.
Yeah, man.
They cut it to, 11 or 12 at half, and then they just turned it on.
Yeah, man.
And Thornton was just put the cape on, which we know we kind of been waiting for this moment for Bruce Thornton because the league knew about him, and he's obviously getting a lot of confidence and is truly a talent. But, man, that could be one of those, and I'm not saying, if they lose that game, what does it do for their NCAA tournament hopes? It really puts a dent in it, and they rescued it at home. Huge win.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You need your big-time players to step up, and that's exactly what Bruce did. I mean, a 30-piece is just absolutely tremendous from him. We've seen him throughout his career. He can do this. He can be a facilitator. That's been the great thing about watching Bruce Thornton throughout his career here in Columbus. Man, he's shooting the rock well from three. I know he banked that one in, but recently where you look at where he's at, 5 straight games of at least 50% from three. So he is absolutely opening up this offense and doing his part there, and this team's found some confidence, man. They really have found some confidence, winners of 4 of their last 5, and it's the right time to start cranking out this type of momentum. I looked at bracketology this morning over at ESPN. They've got them as a 9 seed currently, so they're headed in the right direction. I know Coach Diebler's got to be happy about the resilience that they showed yesterday, because this same squad in Maryland punched them in the mouth earlier this year and dominated them, and it felt like that was going to happen early in this game. They did a good job of coming out in the second half, going on their own run, closing the gap. And then in tight games, you want to get the rock to your big-time playmakers, and a guy like Bruce Thornton stepped up and answered the call.
They're still down with 7 minutes to go. They still had to find a way to dig down. And you're right. Now they're 4-6 against AP top 25. They get to 5-6 in quad 1, so that's big. And there aren't many teams nationally, Matty, that have more quad 1 wins than Ohio State.
Okay.
This is who they are.
Yeah, man.
They can beat a lot of teams. They can lose to some teams they shouldn't lose to. That's college basketball in a nutshell anyway. But here's Diebler on the confidence that's building.
We have both the makings offensively and defensively of every time we step between the lines being able to win. And that it really doesn't matter who we go against. Now, every game in the Big Ten is hard. We got a really quick turnaround against another team who is playing really well, right? So we've just made it about us. And we talked about, like, this is what we've worked towards. It's certainly, we've dealt with a lot this year. 5 one-possession games in a row. First time in my basketball life I've ever experienced that. And, we've dealt with, lineup issues all season, guys being out, like all that. And we've grown, we're playing well, we still have room to grow. That's what we haven't arrived yet. This is another great step forward. But we have the makings both offensively and defensively that when we step out on the court, because of our toughness and connectedness, that there's not a team we can't compete with.
There you go. That's Jake Diebler, head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Dom Tiberi at 10 TV sat down with Ross Bjork, and they talked about the extension and the decision to do it. Here's Ross Bjork.
Well, I think in today's world, stability of coaching, stability of leadership is so critical. Obviously, college athletics is going through a transformational process. And, when you have the right leadership, when you have consistency, when you have the right person at the helm, you want to secure that. You want to secure the future. And given what we just went through, like you said, a historical run in the history of college football, given the way Coach Day runs the program on a day-to-day basis, people may just only see game day, but this is a 365, 24/7 job that he leads, and he just does it the right way. So we wanted to not only reward success, but also just make sure that we're stable for a long time because he runs the program the right way. So it was important that we got this done in this time frame. We've been talking about it as the season, was coming to an end. We knew that we were going to address his contract in one way, shape, or form, and to have the support of the Board of Trustees, President Carter, and have that alignment on Coach Day being the right guy, all this made sense, and we're just so appreciative of his leadership.
4 games. He saw what he needed to see. They did, because if they would have fell short and not won the title, he doesn't get this extension, not in my mind. This is mostly the reward of what they saw and now what they believe in. Mm-hmm. And then Coach Day's commitment to want to stay at Ohio State and get the security through, 2031?
Yep.
They added 3 years to an already existing contract They could have waited. They could have seen whether he could turn it around against the rival. What this is telling me that Ross Bjork came in, wanted to spend some money, secure his coach, and worry about the Michigan rivalry when he has to worry about it.
I'm all in on rewarding, a coach on winning a national championship. Ryan Day's not the first coach to do that. To get that, he won't be the last to get that. He just got to go continue to stay on this trajectory, check those important boxes, and we know what those are. And I think what Ross is talking about, stability, Coach Day will continue to bring that into the future.
That is today's Buckeye Bulletin. All right, we are on Radio Row, courtesy of Low T Center. You've heard me talk about it all week. At Low T Center, they're going to make it very easy. Go get your levels checked. Just a simple test, on-site lab. You're going to get those results back right there. And if you're a current patient of Low T Center, you know the drill. You're going to get $150 in a referral credit if you refer a new patient. So, guys, talk to your friends. If they're not feeling their best, it's time to go get their numbers. And Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated. Their treatment for prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. It's very easy. Go to lowtcenter.com, book your appointment. That's it. Get in there, find out what your numbers are, and after that, let them guide you through the process. They are the most experienced. lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care. When we come back on Radio Row, as we go into our final hour, that's right, we're going to finally get the Baldy breakdown. Brian Ballinger is going to join us here on the Row and make his pick for Super Sunday. That's next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
An ex-jock and a very puffy, smooth-faced man. These are the first voices you should hear. Morning Juice. Your wake-up service.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan.
Hi, Bob Mashuter back with a huge message for 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford is offering the biggest deals in a decade to kick off the new year. How about new Broncos for up to $16,000 off? New F-150s up to $11,000 off, and up to $12,000 off the Super Duties. If you resolve to save money this new year, then don't wait and grab your new Ford to kick off an awesome 2025. Dick Mashuter Ford. Close Sundays because it's the right thing to do, but 24/7 at mashuterford.net.
Hi, I'm Bob Capace for Worthington Jewelers. Valentine's Day is upon us. Don't be a loser and forget again this year. Here at Worthington Jewelers, my store, I'm Bob Capace. We're giving you 35% off 14-karat gold and diamond jewelry. And how about 20% off sterling silver jewelry? We have something for every budget. Shop local and ask for me. Bob Capace. Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text CORE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CORE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text CORE to 200-300. That's CORE to 200-300. CORE to 200-300.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And everybody's had these pains, these little nicks, these things that you maybe had an injury when you were younger and you thought it went away. And then all of a sudden, as you get older, it starts to creep back. Doing everything, walking up the stairs, doing your favorite activities, golf, skiing, whatever it might be, the summer, the spring, the winter, it hurts. Hey, do not deal with it any longer. The hip, the knee, the shoulder, the back, whatever it is, there's good news. Go to QC Kinetics. They're groundbreaking treatments for that arthritis pain. They're going to make you feel better. The long-term relief, it's now possible. They're right here in Columbus under the leadership of Dr. Ray Tesner, founder of Grant Sport Medicine and a classically trained orthopedic surgeon. Don't wait. Make the call today. My dad and I did. His knee's starting to feel better. My knee feels better. They've got PRP treatments. They can change your life. I'm telling you right now. So go to qckinetics.com/Columbus for your free consultation or give them a call at 380-228-4544. It's not going to go away on its own. They've got 2 offices in Dublin and Gahanna, so check them out.
At Logan Services, we know how important your home comfort is, and that's why we're proud to offer free HVAC inspections. Through our free inspection, you'll get a thorough assessment of your heating and cooling system to identify any potential issues that can impact your home, your energy bills, and even your health. The assessment is free and only takes an hour of your time. It's the fast, friendly service that you've come to expect from our team at Logan Services.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a huge inheritance. But a phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard for a new one on us. Just trade in any phone from our top brands with select unlimited plans. $829.99 purchase with new smartphone line on select unlimited plans. Minimum $90 per month with auto pay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Plus $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Trade-in terms apply. Payoff phone requires smartphone purchase and port-in with new smartphone line on select plan. Must provide most recent bill showing payoff amount of eligible phone. Additional terms apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Cole Bartemus. Well, that was a useful win for Buckeye Hoops. Ohio State took down 18th-ranked Maryland on the home hardwood, 73-70. The Bucks were down by as much as 17 in this game. You may recall that earlier in the season, Maryland took Ohio State behind the woodshed and pounded them by 24, and it wasn't even that close. So last night's comeback was just what the doctor ordered to avoid the sweep. Bruce Thornton had his best stuff last night. He scored 31, dished out 6 assists, corralled 5 boards, and he did not leave the floor all night long. Also, the NFL honors were last night. Josh Allen took home the MVP award. Eric Armstead was named Walter Payton Man of the Year. And we have 4 new residents of Canton: Jared Allen, Sterling Sharp, Eric Allen, and Antonio Gates. And for the finalists who didn't make it this year, it isn't getting any easier next year because that class is loaded. This update is brought to you by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa Platinum credit card. Apply at bmifcu.org/visa.
It's Friday, and there's football. I shall call it Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for all things football. The Fan. Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and I feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
All right, when it comes to breaking down the super game on Sunday, there's nobody better than our friend Brian Baldinger, former Eagles lineman, certainly NFL Network analyst, total access, the whole thing. You know about Baldy's breakdowns, but Cowboys, Colts, Eagles.
Yes.
So
Yep.
do you have a kind of a lean because you played for the Eagles? Is there a heart versus head pick coming this Sunday or no?
I mean, I could go back and forth. I mean, both my brothers played for the Chiefs. One of my brothers still lives in Kansas City, does stuff for the Chiefs.
Okay.
When Andy Reid came to Philly in 1999, I was there at his opening press conference. Met him day one. Felt like I've known him for 25 years. His wife Tammy. I go both sides. I live in Philly. I just thought when this postseason started, back like January 6th, whatever it was, I thought the Eagles were the best team. I just thought the Eagles would go 4-0 in the postseason. I didn't know who they were going to meet along the way. But here they are against Kansas City. And, it's a rematch of 2 years ago. There's a lot of familiarity. I know guys in Philadelphia that can't stand the Chiefs. I think they're pretty pumped up about this matchup. But I like Philadelphia. I think they're the best team in this league in the trenches. And, as a former lineman, I feel like that's still where these games are won and lost.
I'm glad you brought up the trenches. One guy I couldn't wait to ask you about is the offensive line coach for Philadelphia.
Yes.
Jason Kelsey leaves, Hall of Fame caliber
Yep.
player, and here they are, Baldy, still moving people around at the line of scrimmage. Talk about the offensive line coach, who that is for people that don't know, because his name never gets brought up.
Well, it's funny. Before we started this, we were talking about Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
So when Chip came to Philadelphia in 2013, he brought Jeff Stoutland with him. And Jeff Stoutland is that guy you're talking about. He's still, 13 years later, he's still the offensive line coach in Philly. And, his thing is, he loves to develop players. Jordan Mailata never played football before. He's an all-pro, or he's a Pro Bowl left tackle. Mekhi Becton never played offensive guard in his life. He's might as well be a Pro Bowl guard. Cam Jurgens takes over for a Hall of Fame player in Jason Kelsey. Not a big drop-off. Lane Johnson probably had his best year ever. Landon Dickerson is a guy that could play center guard like he did, in the NFC Championship game. When they lost Mailata this year, Fred Johnson went in. I told Fred, you're going to get yourself a big fat contract in free agency. He played great. For 4 weeks when Jordan was out, Fred Johnson played his best football he's ever played. The offensive line coaches wear a lot of hats. One of them is player development. One of them is, developing a run game, protections, putting that together, and then fixing things that aren't working game day. And I feel like Jeff Stoutland is an A-plus player at all three of those things.
He is the 13-year NFL vet. Brian Baldinger with us. We're getting smarter. The Dookie is in the house. Best matchup, key matchup that you love for this game?
Yeah, well, let's go right in the trenches. Let's go Trey Smith, Kansas City, against Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter is arguably the most talented defensive tackle in football, arguably. Now, he's still an ascending player, but that guy, there's nothing he can't do. So him against Trey Smith. Trey Smith is going to become the highest paid guard in football as soon as he hits free agency. Whether Kansas City can afford him or not, he's going to be that guy. They played against each other last year briefly. Jalen only played a little over half the plays when they played last year. Now he plays 90-95% of the plays. That's a matchup that I would pay inflated StubHub price tickets, that price to go watch.
Steve Spagnuolo, tremendous defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think his name gets brought up enough when you talk about Kansas City. He's an absolute dude as a play caller, as you know. How aggressive do you think he's going to be trying to get after Jalen Hurts on Sunday?
Well, that's always going to be dictated by the game. Yeah. He doesn't have a premeditated idea of what he's going to do. The game dictates it, and then he's in constant communication with Nick Bolton, who's a signal caller, to McDuffie, to Justin Reed, to Chris Jones. He's really talking to all of his guys about, can we do this, can we do that, is this the right time, for this, if we get this situation. It's a game. It's all dictated by the game. So, look, he's going for his 5th Super Bowl. He's unmatched. The year that he was out of football before he went to Kansas City, he spent every Monday at NFL Films. I still have his cover 3, on my whiteboard about the way he teaches it and his responsibilities. And, I've always kept that and looked at it, from time to time. He's a great teacher. And he has a great feel for developing young players. 2 years ago, when they played the Eagles, they had 6 rookies that were playing on defense. Now those guys are all in their 3rd year. Jalen Watson, Brian, Cook. You go through the, Karlaftis. He's developed great young players.
We are talking with Brian Baldinger as we break down Super Sunday with you. Andy Reid's bag of tricks. Ask you about that, what you think he may have in store for the Eagles this Sunday. And also, is this a Kelsey saving the best for last kind of game? Because he's been somewhat of a non-factor lately, but there may be an impact he can make in this game against this defense.
Well, he's caught 97 passes in the regular season. It was 40 more than anybody else on the team. But he only had the 3 touchdown catches, but he's got 20 in the postseason now. He's looking to add to it. He's going to be a prominent player. Now, how prominent? Really, the defense of the Eagles is going to dictate that. Patrick Mahomes is not going to force it to him. He knows that's going to get him in. And he's got so much else, so many other players he can get the ball to. But if you look at the AFC Championship game, they scored 2 touchdowns out of a formation that they had never showed before. Okay. They had Noah Gray and Travis Kelce side by side in the backfield, and then they motioned Nolan Gray opposite of Mahomes with Kareem Hunt in the backfield, and it was an inverted wishbone look. And the first time they ran it, Kareem Hunt went 12 yards for a touchdown run. The last time they ran it, Patrick Mahomes kept it for a 10-yard touchdown run. Like, you don't know what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And so maybe Travis is a big part of it. I'm sure, for all the things that we know about, he wants to get in the end zone. But they're going to do the things that are going to help them win a game. They have a selfless group of guys.
Baldy, we talked earlier in the week about the guys that help put these rosters together, right? Both in Philadelphia and Kansas City, Brett Veach and Howie Roseman, and how important it is to not only have the star players, which is obvious, but layer in some of these young players that can turn into dudes. And it seems like both those guys have done a tremendous job of doing that.
So they're unbelievable. I mean, you look at Howie Roseman, what he did this offseason. I mean, whether it's acquiring Saquon, taking a Zach Vaughn that nobody knew that he could put up 150 tackles and fill up the stat sheet, or, putting two rookies in the lineup and seeing them play at a Pro Bowl level. I mean, it's unbelievable across the board. Can you get Mekhi Becton for nothing to go get and play at a Pro Bowl level? And then to see what Brett's done, once the season, you go out there, you lose Rashee Rice. Like, he's going to set records at wide receiver for him. They lose him in the fourth week of the season. Here's Nuke coming in. Here's Juju Smith that's still there. Here's Xavier Worthy in the draft at the end of the first round. I mean, to go acquire Hollywood Brown. Yeah, I mean, both teams, what both teams have done, if they've identified their franchise quarterbacks, and then what they say is, we're never going to stop building around them. And that's what both teams do.
All right, Baldy, let me ask you a little bit about Low T Center. We're a Low T station. I have always touted to guys that there's power in the numbers. A lot of guys are afraid to go to the doctor. They don't want to do that stuff. This is not a typical doctor's office, but it may be the reason, and stop guessing, it may be the reason that the levels have changed for guys.
Well, I did. I mean, I checked, back in 2009 or 10, and I've been a proponent since. I got my testosterone level scored, and I knew it was dipping and dropping, and I've now improved all of that. Energy level, muscular, just the amount of muscle that I can keep, sleeping, like all that stuff has improved. Just coming back from an injury, I tore my tricep this year. I don't know why or how, but it tore, like it happens, and it repaired itself. But I mean, all this stuff now can be done by a simple test, and you can do it online right now. You can go to one of the 600 Low T centers around the country and get that done. You can get your product right now, really measured, put it in a syringe, delivered right to your house. It takes the guesswork out of it. Not everybody is the same, so everybody has a different type of chemistry that they've got to alter. And so they can do that all for you. And, it's one-stop shopping.
Yeah, it really is. And we've touted Low T Center a lot, and I agree. More than a decade of experience. They're physicians, and it's not standard dosage. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes.
Just a guy walking in paying $130 a month saying, give me a dose.
You can do that to other places, but this is itemized.
And they test a lot more than others. That's great. Great to hear. All right, when you make a selection for the Super Bowl, when you make a prediction, and I'll ask you to do that, what percentage of your eyes are going into your pick, and then the history of the Chiefs and the Mahomes magic? Give me your recipe of predicting this game on Sunday.
Well, you have to balance the second part of your question. You have to balance what Patrick Mahomes has done in these big games and the combination with Andy Reid and Spags. It's almost unmatched. So, but at the same time, I said that the Eagles would go 4-0 in the postseason. And not because I live in Philly and played for the Eagles or any of that stuff. I just thought they were the best team in the trenches. The quarterback has not turned the ball over. He's got 2 turnovers in his last 13 starts in games that he's finished. And those 2 turnovers, the way that they play the game, I think that's how you have to play it sometimes in big games. And I think they're willing to do it right now.
And they're your pick.
They're my pick.
All right.
I started with the Eagles. I'm staying with the Eagles. You could talk me into Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, probably, and it probably is the right thing.
I know.
But they're ready for a parade in Broad Street.
Baldy's Breakdowns, best in the business. Thanks for the visit.
Thanks, guys. It was precious. Yeah, Anthony, Matt,
thank
all
you.
The best.
You got it. Baldy. Brian Baldinger with us here on Radio Row. All right, when we come back, it's the Super Sunday overs and unders. Play along with us next. Rothman and Ice, on Radio Row. Sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Everyone has that one goal, that thing they want to prove. Not to other people, but to themselves. Then, right when you think you could actually do it, cancer. And that goal is still within reach. I would know. I'm about to run my first ever marathon with my 2 best friends. 3 years after having cancer.
At least we look good in these shorts.
Woo! Let's get it, guys. You, keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
Atlas Butler is built to keep you comfortable, and our plumbing services are no exception. You can rely on Atlas Butler for trusted, convenient plumbing and drain service. Our expert plumbers and drain specialists can take care of anything, from a broken water heater to a clogged drain. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161, home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission. We have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
Get ready for the big game with fan favorites like buy one, get one free extra large avocados. Plus, buy 5, save $5 deals when you mix or match other go-to items like assorted varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizza, 24 packs of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products plus deposit where applicable, and Sweet Baby Ray's marinade or sauce. Shopping at Meijer makes game day a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
Big game party? Save big with Hothead Burritos Super Online Catering Discount. Bowls, burritos, tacos. Your guests will have a blast creating their own with choices for groups of 10 or more. Plan your menu now for Sunday's game at hotheadburritos.com.
It's child's play to donate your car, truck, RV, or boat to Ronald McDonald House Charities of Central Ohio. They'll pick it up free of charge, steer you through the paperwork, and a hefty tax deduction rolls your way as you help provide a home away from home for families of seriously ill hospitalized children. For more information about donating your vehicle to Ronald McDonald House Charities, visit rmhc-centralohio.org or call 614-CARS-HELP. That's 614-CARS-HELP.
Football season is here, and we have so much stuff. One station isn't enough. Find even more pigskin on ESPN Columbus.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2, or listen on the Fan app.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
Black history is American history. In this Black History Month, the Ohio Education Association is celebrating the many Black Ohioans who have shaped our past and who are paving the way for a brighter future for all of us. I'm OEA President Scott DeMar, and as a high school social studies teacher, I've seen how important it is for our students to receive a full and honest education so they can become better critical thinkers. Join the Ohio Education Association in standing up for our students' freedom to learn.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are tracking the sunshine out there today, high around 35. Cloudy tonight, low 26. Dry on your Saturday morning, but some rain and freezing rain expected Saturday afternoon. Freezing rain could be pretty bad along and north of I-70. South of I-70, it shouldn't be as bad. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast. on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Rothman and Ice present Pre-Snap Reads.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF. Or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, back at Super Bowl 59, Radio Row, New Orleans, Rothman and Ice, Bet365 time.
Yes, sir, brother, because at Bet365, we don't do ordinary. Bet365 has launched a new sign-up offer. You bet you bet $5. You get $150 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Customers will receive bonus bets after signing up. You know how much I respect Andy Reid and his creativity, especially when the Chiefs get in the red zone area. I'm looking at an anytime touchdown for Mr. Xavier Worthy, AR, at plus 150.
Funny you mention Worthy, because one of my favorite props is Worthy's rushing yards over 5.5.
Oh, I feel like that's
and
happening.
I feel
all
like
day.
give me one jet sweep.
Yeah.
The Eagles are a really good defense, but I've looked at some overs and unders on his receiving yards. I mean, I think I could talked into his over 54.5 receiving, and I think I could certainly get talked into Juju going over 15.5 receiving yards. It's a one catch over the middle. I think we can get that, and I think his name might be in there somewhere because he's been a good possession guy for Mahomes lately. Not going to mess around with Kelsey right now because he's just been so hit and miss. I know that he's a lock to catch 2 passes. Kelsey will catch
Absolutely.
2 passes. You know I know that? Because that's all he needs to break Jerry Rice's all-time Super Bowl catches record.
All right, done and done.
All right?
Done.
So I feel like he's got 31 catches in a Super Bowl. I feel like if he gets 2 more and breaks Jerry Rice, they're going to be hell-bent to get him the ball at least twice. I don't care how they get it to him, but there's not enough value on that. You'd have to pair that with a lot. So I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy over 5.5 rushing yards.
Okay, there it is. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app today. 21 plus only. Must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to meeting qualifying criteria.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
All right, time for Super Bowl overs and unders.
Rothman and Ice presents overs and unders.
All right, CB's locked in here.
Let's do it.
Going over this stuff. Hit him with us.
So I wanted to get a little creative with some of them. There was one I actually did not put on the board. I wanted to do the octopus.
Yeah, well, Jalen had that a few years ago.
That's right.
Scored the touchdown and got his own 2-point conversion.
So we will not do that. We'll do some more conventional ones. We'll start off with Patrick Mahomes. His over-under for passing yards in this game is 252.5.
I'm going to go under on that. I think he could have 3 touchdowns, but I don't think he's thrown for more than 252.5. I guess if the game got into overtime and, you get a close game, then I'd get crushed on that. But I just feel like that's just not his game right now. It's a lot of short passing, slicing and dicing. Could it all add up to 253 at the end of Sunday night? Maybe, but I'm gonna trend that he's more dink and dunk, gets the touchdowns he needs, but not the yards that he's telling us is the over-under. I'm going to take the under on 252.5.
The Philadelphia Eagles have a great combination of an elite pass rush and sticky coverage on the back end. They got the veteran and Darius Big Play Slay. They got the rookies in Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. So I'm going to go with the under on this. You brought up a very good point. This is no longer a explosive over-the-top passing attack for Kansas City. They can chip away at it. I just don't think that's going to be the case. So I'm going under. CB, I'm rolling with my guy AR on this one.
All right, we had to do Saquon Barkley. He's always above 100 rushing yards in this prop, basically all season and mostly in the playoffs. But his number for this game is 112.5.
I'm not betting against this dude. I'm not betting against this offensive line. He's got 7 runs of 50 yards or more this season. 7. It's absolutely ridiculous what he's doing. He gets to the second level. Not only is it the speed, but he can make dudes miss. So he's got the yak ability. He's got the juice to run away from a defense, and that O-line is nasty up front. I'm going over.
This is the toughest one for me by far. because of the 19 games that Barkley has played this season, he's rushed for over 100 yards in 14 of them. Now, you said he's got to get to 113 to get the over.
That's right.
The other problem with this is that under Steve Spagnuolo, he's never allowed a 100-yard rusher in the playoffs ever. Not even 100.
Yeah,
and they held Cook to 85 and Mixon to 88. Those guys had good days, but they didn't get to this number. And I know they got to feed Barkley. And I expect the Eagles to try to wear down the Chiefs and hold the ball. That's the key. Mahomes can't beat you if he's not on the field enough. So the bulk of his production will probably come in the second half. Will he get to 113?
Mm-hmm. Come on.
History says he won't.
Roll with me.
I'll give you another stat. 58 Super Bowls previous to this. Only 11 have we seen a running back go hit 120. Now, I know that's a little more than this number. So that puts it about a 25% chance in history that Barkley would get over this number.
How many of those
112.5.
teams have this offensive line? How many?
I know.
Not many.
I've been leaning Eagles forever. We'll make our final pick here at the end.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll bring on Greg Cosell again, and we'll sit him down and bookend him and see if he switched his pick from earlier. But I'm going to take...
You're going under.
The under on 112.5.
Okay.
Doesn't mean he can't be big impact.
Yeah.
All right, next up, I will let you pick your option of questions. I have written down Jalen Hurts' rushing attempts, but that one could probably be maybe boring compared to the other one I thought in my head real quick. The shortest touchdown score yardage in this game is set at 1.5 yards. Would you rather do that one or the Jalen Hurts rushing attempts?
I like the attempts. I think we talked about the under 1.5 just because I think there'll be enough fourth downs where they push and we'll get a rush of under 1.5 yards. I think that's almost a lock.
It's the scoring play, though.
Oh, scoring play. So he has to be at the 1.
I'm taking the under on attempts.
So his attempts for rushing attempts in terms of Jalen Hurts is 9.5.
I'm taking the under.
So he had 10 against Washington. He had 7 against LA and 6 against GB. So he's beaten this number once in the playoffs, as I just mentioned, 9 times this regular season. I think we're going to have a handful of fourth downs. They're going to go for it. I'm going to take the over on rush attempts because I feel if he rushes for 2 fourth down and 2 tush pushes somewhere in the game, that's 2, and then I need eight more little scramble strategic runs that he's going to have to. I agree with you. It's probably not going to go this way, but it's the Super Bowl. You got to leave everything out there. I'm going over.
All right, next up, I know you don't want to play Travis Kelce because he burned you a couple weeks ago, but we will force you to make the pick this week. His over-under for receiving yards is 61.5.
All right, so he laid the egg against Buffalo, but he killed it against Houston with 117. He's beaten this number of 61.5 8 times in the regular season. This is another impact Kelce game. I'm going to go under based on this defense. Although they're going to... Boy, he could be fed, but he won't get the yards. I'm going to take the under.
Cliff Kingsbury and Zach Ertz exposed the middle of the field.
Don't make me change my mind.
They are not Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, as we know. Travis Kelce, throughout his career, has shown an amazing feel to find the middle of a defense and be where Patrick Mahomes needs him to be. I'm not betting against these two right now, specifically Travis Kelce. He has a knack of stepping up in these games and absolutely going off. And you can't just focus on him. You can't. The elite coverage guys for the Eagles are on the outside. Quinyon Mitchell, Darius Slay, those guys. Yes, you got Cooper DeJean, but this is the tight end in the sport. I'm going over for Cleveland Heights, CB.
Yeah, I just think they'll bracket him and maybe leave the door open for Worthy on the one-on-ones, but that may be stupid too. I'll stick with the under.
All right, like I said, we're not doing the octopus line, but we will do the successful 2-point conversions. We'll just set it over under a half. One has to happen.
Go over. I think we're getting a close game. So I think that's going to be a difference maker. Could be a difference maker. I'm going over.
A successful 2?
Yeah. Especially for Kansas City. Kansas City's really good at those.
Now I've got to think about what my score is going to be, because my score is going to be...
You're probably picking Kansas City 31, 29, 28.
I'm not.
I think you're going to...
I'm not.
Your energy for me all week is giving Philly.
All right. I'm going with Under. No 2-point conversions.
All right, and finally, the weather. We will do the weather back in Columbus. It's over under 38.5 degrees.
Over.
Maddie said it's going to be 40 and rainy.
Yeah, I need over. Anything colder than that, we may not get home. So I'm just, give me the over. Hopefully we get rain and we can get home tomorrow.
Okay, those are your over-unders for today. All right, when we come back in 2 minutes, I will tell you this man goes toe-to-toe with the best former players and analysts in the business. Dan Graziano of ESPN will jump in with us live next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
At NJM Insurance, we like to think of ourselves as a symphony. We start with a foundation of doing the right thing. Then we layer in dedicated reps whose priority is you. Add in excellent discount programs. And last, but certainly not least, we put our policyholders first. And the reason we don't use jingles or mascots is because it's just not us. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Hey guys, it's Timmy Hall, and we are getting ready. You see, this ain't the little itty-bitty teeny-tiny bowl. This is Super Bowl 59. So get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is going to be key to hoisting that Lombardi trophy, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Looking at Saquon Barkley on the app now, plus 285 to get 2+ touchdowns. Gotta like that action. Lines and odds are subject to change. But hey, new DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code TheFan971. That's code TheFan971. And new customers will get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Ohio only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. This February 21st and 22nd, honor the timeless wedding tradition and let Diamond Cellar's Blue Box be a part of your forever. Celebrate wedding weekend with buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. Find your something blue and so much more at Diamond Cellar. February 21st and 22nd on Selmo Road or at Easton Town Center.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Radio Row is full of the most pathetic, publicity-hungry has-beens in the sports world. That's why Rothman and Ice fit right in.
Sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Live from New Orleans, it's Rothman and Ice.
All right, we don't have to reinvent anything right now. We're one of the best, national insider for ESPN, author, G-Town Hoya in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Down here in NOLA, our friend Dan Graziano. Graz, so nice of you to come back.
Yeah, it's my
pleasure. You had a busy day.
Thanks for chasing me down over there. Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed this. It's fun.
All right. Give me your there's no big news right now, right? We heard maybe a little sickness running through the Eagles.
Eagles are sick. There's something going through. I don't know what it is, whether it's a stomach bug or cold or whatever. But, yeah, they've had some guys that have been down with it. I mean, nobody's missing practice, right? There's maybe some limited. But I miss the Super Bowl. Like, I think, they'll be there.
Graham, is he?
Yeah, he's a question, right? Because torn triceps in November, and so thought his season was over. But he's been able to practice. He sounds really optimistic. The team hasn't come out and said that he's playing, but I guess the final injury report will be today, right? So the question is how much, right? Like, is he going to be able to play his normal number of snaps? What kind of impact can he have? How much will that limit him? Will he have to wear something? So, we'll see. But I know he wants to be out there, and they'd love to have him. He's one of the great players in franchise history, and this could be it for him.
On the other side of this is Kansas City's all-timer and Chris Jones. And they have to deal with him not being Philly's O-line. What are you hearing about the health of Philadelphia's O-line before we get to
Pretty good. Yeah, I think so. The center, Cam Jurgens, was hurt going into the AFC Championship game, and they had to put Landon Dickerson in. He got hurt during that game. But both full participants in practice yesterday. I assume they will be again today when that report comes out. But yeah, I don't think there's that. I mean, Devontae Smith's been limited with a hamstring, but that's something he's managed all year and kind of played through. So yeah, I think it's pretty clean sheet in terms of health for both teams.
Dan Graziano with us, ESPN's national insider here covering Super Sunday. How many is this for you? You know?
So yeah, I believe it's 14. But I also, last year was the year that I had finally more Super Bowls than World Series. I had a whole career covering baseball before I switched to football in around 2010. So so 14 Super Bowls and 12 World Series. It's been quite a ride.
You had such a run in baseball. So where does all your inherent knowledge of Super Bowls and trivia and this great game of football? No one can get one over on you.
Super Bowl is my brothers and I used to obsessively watch those little half-hour specials on the old Super Bowls that NFL Films had. Yeah, I see all these banners up here with all the past Super Bowls, and so a lot of that comes from that. And then, once the trivia thing on Get Up started, randomly, one of the first shows I was on, they decided to ask me the trivia question. I got it, and they were blown away. It was something about 100-catch seasons, and the answer was Brandon Marshall, and they were shocked that I got it. So they wanted me to come back. So I kind of started really kind of studying, right? Because now here we're doing it on live TV. We want to do well. It's been fun. It's become a thing. Every now and then, like Hembo, somebody will tell him online that they're betting on it, and that doesn't make me feel very comfortable. But
well, you're the overwhelming favorite, I will tell you that, and it's the greatest tease because when I'm watching and they pitch the question, we go to commercial break. You got everybody sticking around to get that answer.
That's exactly right.
Well,
that's
very crafty of you guys.
Let's zoom out from New Orleans and go over to Cleveland. Obviously where we are. Talk a lot of Browns football. Where do you believe this Myles Garrett situation is headed?
I think he sounds pretty dug in, right? And it doesn't sound like they're going to be able to make him happy with a new contract. So if that's the case, then the question is how dug in is the team? And do they become convinced before the draft, for example, that he's not going to play for them, that he's willing to hold out? If that's the case, if you're going to trade him, if you're going to make your peace with the idea of trading him, you're going to want to do it before the draft because you know what those picks are, as opposed to trading him for next year's picks and you're trading him to somebody who's going to probably be better as a result, and so a worse pick. So, but if they don't, if they dig their heels in ahead of the draft and don't deal him, then what happens is it's a training camp holdout situation and it kind of takes over the offseason. So I would think that what Myles is hoping for is that they decide they don't want that to happen. But there's all kinds of problems. I mean, the contract, right? All the dead money accelerates. If they trade him, his cap number goes up to $36 million if they trade him. So they'd have to do a new contract, which would obviously have to meet with the approval of the team he's going to. And there's just so many moving parts. I don't know. It doesn't sound to me like the Browns are going to be in a position to make something happen ahead of free agency or the draft unless someone really changes their position.
All right, so the offer itself, you probably toss this around with some analysts and people that are inside that business. They will be getting calls from a lot of people.
I'm sure they already are. I mean, this is a top 5 or 10 player in the entire league. He's 29 years old. He's had, 4 straight 14-sack seasons, right? Is that correct? And, so, no, I would think, it's multiple first-round picks. And I think you probably also will hear if the Browns get serious, they'll probably want to bring in, maybe make a younger player part of that deal too, like some player on his rookie contract, right, that they have that can be a star on their defense. But it's tough. I mean, look, they're trying to get a stadium built, and that you generally want good feelings around the team when you're doing that. And if you trade the best player on the team, he's kind of a face of the franchise guy, right, because for various reasons the quarterback, sort of can't be. I think it's tough. I think the Browns are in a very difficult position.
But can you blame the team, though? Because if he's going to maybe sit out, the fans would be like, well,
right.
How do we blame the team? This guy's forcing his way out.
Right. And so that in these situations, especially when they do start to get ugly, you will see positioning from either side to try and make the other side look like it's their fault. So we're not there yet. It's entirely – I mean, the conversations he's having with the Cleveland front office, it's possible they could reach an understanding and decide to trade him or decide to bring him back on a new deal. Like that so far, he hasn't done anything untoward, right? Like he's been classy and clear about why, and so it hasn't gotten ugly. But if it drags past the draft, I think it could.
Going down to Cincinnati now, Joe Burrow has expressed, a few times now that he would like to run it back with T. Higgins. How realistic do you believe that's going to be for Cincinnati?
I think it's tough. If you want to sign Jamar Chase, to also sign T. Higgins, considering that Higgins has now arrived at unrestricted free agency as of March and will know what's out there for him. So if you're the Bengals and you're trying to sell T. Higgins on, hey, look at the Eagles. Look at A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And Devontae doesn't make as much as A.J., and maybe that's you're our Devontae Smith. And so that's what, $25, $27 million a year. And if T knows that there are offers out there for 30 and 32, right? Like, you might really love the Bengals if you're going to leave that kind of money on the table. So I think it's going to be very difficult. They have a lot of work to do on defense, right? Yeah. Trey Hendrickson wants a new deal, and if he doesn't get it, then they're going to have to replace him, who led the league in sacks. And their defense was horrible around him. So they have a lot of work to do. I think it's unrealistic to think they can keep both of those wide receivers. It's just, like, Jamar Chase is the interesting one to me because the Bengals have a specific contract rule. They don't guarantee any money outside of the signing bonus in their contracts. They made an exception for Burrow. I think Chase wants them to make an exception for him too, and they don't want to set that precedent. So the Bengals would counter by saying, well, we give them huge signing bonuses. What's the difference? You actually get the money sooner. But if he wants to beat Justin Jefferson's number and he wants second-year guarantees, that could drag. Like, there's no guarantee they sign him to an extension this offseason. So, yeah, if you want to leverage over Jamar Chase, the best thing you could do is sign Higgins.
One of the best in the biz with us, Dan Graziano, ESPN, here on Rothman and Ice. So we have Schefter on our program every week. Aaron Rodgers has asked him to lose his number. Mm-hmm. Has he asked you to lose his number?
Aaron?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but I don't have it. Like, I don't. I think he said that in response to a text he got from Adam.
That's right.
Right. So I don't have that.
Is
number.
This it? Is he going to retire?
Aaron?
Yeah.
You got to get. I don't think he's around. You got to get him to answer that. Like, he's been year to year for a while. Even the last couple of years in Green Bay, he kind of went over it, right? So, I don't know. Like, he wasn't. Yeah, he was. There were some flashes this year, but he wasn't consistently good. There were times when he looked old. He was playing hurt. That's going to continue to be an issue as he gets older. It is for everybody. So, I don't know. I cannot see into that particular mind.
He will be writing the Super Bowl Sunday story on ESPN.com. He is Dan Graziano. Do you have an official pick, my man?
I can't pick against the Chiefs. I can't. I can't pick against them. I did last year in the AFC Championship game, and that was it. Like, Baltimore should have won that game. And you're like, all right, well, the Chiefs have some kind of magic, and good for them. So I'm picking the Chiefs.
Thank you for all you did for us today.
No,
and coming all the
Thanks
way back to the row.
Absolutely.
Dan Graziano goes toe-to-toe with the best in the business, the guys that have played, the analysts. He knows it all. We appreciate his time here on the row. Maddie and I will come back with our official picks next. Rothman and Ice, sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare on the Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Come into your local AAA Car Care Plus and save $90 on select sets of Ford Continental tires. Only at AAA Car Care Plus locations. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer ends February 15th. See store for details.
Breaking news and this ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. TNCs apply.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161. home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission, we have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When you leave a job, don't leave your 401k. Grow your investment without the fees associated with 401k plans. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no! Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. The best time of the year for football is finally here. The big game has arrived, and fans are excited to see you'll be hoisting the trophy in New Orleans. You can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Check out their big game giveaway promo for your chance at $1 million in prizes. 25 winners will walk away with $10K in cash. 7,500 winners will get $100 in bonus bets. No deposit or bet required. Opt in today in the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Rothman and Ice treat their show just like a New Orleans gumbo. Throw enough crap in a pot, and something's bound to taste good.
Sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Live from Radio Row, here's Rothman and Ice.
All right, back on Radio Row, final segment. So, funny story, when Dan Graziano was over there doing another hit for another radio station, and I had walked over there earlier, I went to who I thought was kind of his PR person or handling him. I assumed maybe it was his wife. I didn't know. And so it was. It turned out to be his wife, and I talked to her and I said, hey, would love to bring Dan over and sit down with us. And absolutely, he's got to do this for a deadline. We'll get him back, and done. Perfect. We'll see you later, Graz. Outstanding. So after the interview that we just did with him, which was great, get the final words on the Super Bowl, he stands up, and I go over there, and I went over to thank his wife. And Dan looks at me and goes, you know, when I was doing that hit at that other radio station, I saw you come over to talk to my wife, and he goes, I wasn't sure who you were, and I go, I thought you were hitting on my wife. And I said, no, I'm not hitting on her. I was just trying to go through the proper channels, talk to the boss.
You've been down that road before. You've told the story plenty of times to where you had a boyfriend, I believe, leave a voicemail back in the day telling you to leave his girlfriend alone.
That was a whole different story.
You're familiar with that territory.
That was a full-blown green light, my man, that time. All right. If you guys aren't feeling the energy that you need, that you'd like, that you'd want, go to lowtcenter.com. You've heard a lot of the athletes come through, the middle-aged guys, even Chris Johnson, who's not even 40, guys that we've had on this week that are touting it, they're talking about it, that clearly believe in it. And so I think you should believe as well, because the endorsements and the testimonials are accurate. So go to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment. And you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. Do it the right way. Go to a place that's going to optimize it for you, personalize it for you, and not just give you a standard dose. That is Low T Center, and they'll make it very easy for you. If you're already a current patient, they're also giving you a bonus by giving you a $150 referral credit for every patient that you refer to Low T Center. So that's the name of the game, lowtcenter.com. They're reinventing men's healthcare. Book your appointment today. All right, I'm not going to switch my pick. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with the team that I think is better in the right spots outside of the most important, and I know that's the big one at quarterback, but I go back 2 years ago, and I'll tell you, this is what scares me about picking Philly. I'm going to do it, but this is what scares me about it. I'm looking at the box score from 2 years ago. Jalen Hurts threw for 304 yards. Patrick Mahomes threw for $182. Jalen Hurts rushed for 70 yards. Devontae Smith had 100 yards receiving. A.J. Brown was 6 of 96. Goddard was 6 for 60. And then I look over at Kansas City. It's like Mahomes 182. Yeah, Kelsey got his 6 for 81. Juju was 7 of 53. Justin Watson 2 of 18. Pacheco ran for 76, had a pretty good average. Now they have Kareem Hunt, obviously. He's been their kind of go-to guy now. Like, I look at this box score, Matty, like Philly should have won that game. And they didn't. And that's what scares me, is that they played really well 2 years ago and didn't win. And it's not like Kansas City was jumping off the box score.
You had the ultimate Jalen Hurts boo-boo, though. The fumble that turned into 6 points for Kansas City. You brought it up earlier. Kansas City, 17 straight one-possession games that they have won. 17 straight. It's an NFL record, so they're built for this moment. This is just another game for them. It's another game for Kansas City and Andy Reid. And Philadelphia, they got a nasty squad. I mean, they've been here, like you just highlighted, a couple years ago. This is a core that absolutely is seeking revenge. But here's where I'm at. The Kansas City defensive line led by Chris Jones is a force to be reckoned with. Philadelphia, while yes, Dickerson and Juergens and those guys are playing, they're coming into this game banged up. And Chris Jones is a Hall of Fame caliber player. Their defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, is a Hall of Fame caliber coach, in my opinion. And Chris Jones, because of his versatility, can move up and down the defensive line and pick on this offensive line that is not healthy. In 4 career games versus Philadelphia, Chris Jones has 5 sacks. 5 sacks in 4 games against these guys, and they've always had a very good offensive line. He's played over 300 snaps at D-tackle. He's lined up over the offensive tackle over 300 times, and he's lined up outside the offensive tackle $151. So they're going to move him around and pick on an offensive line that is dinged up. The other thing that I like about Kansas City in this defense is that we've been talking about the Saquon Barkley home run ball all year long, and rightfully so. He has been out of his mind with that. 7 runs of 50 yards or more. This Kansas City Chiefs defense, they've allowed just 8 runs, AR, of 20 yards or more. They've allowed 1 run of 40 yards or more. So you're telling me I get this defense with Steve Spagnuolo with 2 weeks to prepare for this. And it's the ultimate challenge when it comes to a rushing defense outside of Derrick Henry and what he did this year. Ton of respect for Philadelphia's defense, but guess what? They got 2 rookies on the back end that are playing in the Super Bowl that are going to be asked to slow down Patrick Mahomes. And on the flip side of what I said about Steve Spagnuolo, you gave Andy Reid 2 weeks to prepare for 2 rookies and find them and put them in spots that are going to be uncomfortable. I'm not picking against these guys. I learned my lesson too many times. Kansas City's 3-peating. I'm going Kansas City 28-24.
Okay, that's funny because that's my score, and I might flip it to the Eagles. I can't pick the same score. This is one of those great counters once you see who's in it, because I picked KC to win the Super Bowl before the season started. I had them beating the Lions, and I had them 3-peating. But you have to at least wait to see who's on the other side and how that team is playing. I think they have an edge. Not a QB, clearly, but they have an edge, I think, offensively overall. I think defensively overall. I think that they are finding ways to win. They're both 15-1 in their last 16 games. This isn't some, underdog story coming out of Philly.
So you're betting
Carter, Nolan Smith, those guys getting after Mahomes.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You're betting on Nick Sirianni and betting against Andy Reid.
Not necessarily specifically
Trying to
that.
sway him.
He is the head coach. I agree he's got something to do with it. But I can be easily swayed. Listen, you talk to 100 people, turn around and talk to them and ask them, who do you like? Well,
Fitty lemon lime. You'll get it split.
I don't want to pick against Mahomes. I think Philadelphia's got the team to do it.
And Kansas City's got this weird voodoo magic going on. It's something going on. It's like a Harry Potter Dementor. They just take the powers out of whoever they're playing, and the other team finds a way to make a mistake and give them a gift. We've seen this movie all year long. You know how this is going to end. Roll with me. Come on. Become a Swiftie. Come on.
My extended family in Kansas City, Jamie Erdahl, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I hope for a good game.
Oh, no, you have to make a pick.
Politically correct.
No, I don't. Where are we talking?
Columbus, Ohio.
Ohio.
You want to hop on the mic real quick if you got a second? We got about a minute until we're out here anyway.
Our Vikings aren't in it, so we have right. Because I know you're a big Skull.
My husband that I'm on radio in Columbus. He's a Michigan man.
It's all right.
I know. Don't tell
Ohio
him.
State won it all.
What's happening, everybody?
All
Yeah,
right, we've got about 2 minutes.
I just picked Kansas City. He's going back and forth.
Congratulations on your pick.
Thank you.
You can't decide.
No, but how many
can I-
people have you talked? That's why I asked you. Break the
I'll
tie.
tell you the masses. We had a Jolly Rancher bucket, and the masses went with the Eagles. But I think that's just more of a people hate dynasties situation.
Yeah.
I like the drama.
So
I like the drama.
so
of the Eagles
rooting
winning.
against
Philly
the
all
villain.
week, Jamie. He's
Yeah.
wanted Philly all week.
Okay, so why are you trying to flip?
Because he's trying to convince me that no one in their right mind should pick against Mahomes.
Mm.
And Andy Reid.
It is sound logic.
That it is. That it
So
is.
you're not going to break our tie.
No, I won't.
Okay.
I know. I'm classically trained to remain like Switzerland, isn't that what? Or Sweden?
Well,
Who's the neutral one? Switzerland.
We're big fans. Skull Vikes.
Yes. Skull.
We'll get here. We'll get
Thank
here
you.
1 year, maybe.
Yeah, just shouting who's going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know what city I'm talking to. Is next time, give me a small heads up.
You're very good at ad-libbing. Thank you.
Hey, no
Thank
problem.
you,
Thanks for the
Jamie.
visit.
Okay, I'm gonna go
There it
back.
is.
The
See ya.
wonderful Jamie Erdahl with us from the NFL Network. That was a fun way to end the week.
There you go.
All right, I'm
Awesome.
staying Philly, same score.
28-24.
Because I said even before you did, so we're good.
There we go, brother.
All right, I do want to thank Matty Hayes, my co-host, for a wonderful week. Colin Behringer for all the work he's done. Back in the studio, we could not do this without Cole Bartemus, who, by the way, pre-happy birthday on Sunday,
Yes,
the
sir.
same as Saquon Barkley and Cooper DeJean.
Pop a bottle, Cole.
They're all having birthdays. And we also want to thank Low T Center. Without them supporting and financing our trip and being part of what we believe is something great for guys, Low T Center has been reinventing men's health care for over 10 years. Please book your appointment. Good luck, everybody back home with the weather and the icy weather that's supposedly up there and coming. And enjoy Super Sunday. Keep it locked here. This is Rothman and Ice on The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Are men and Bone stupid in real life? Yes. Yes, they are. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
The puppies were set. There was a kiss off the glass and some onions from Bruce Thornton as the Buckeyes come away with the huge win over Maryland last night. Bruce Thornton, 17 points in the last 7 minutes. Ohio State somehow covers the 2-point spread with a 3-point win. They were minus 130 on the money line. Total State under 148.5. For your Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas. The kiss.
Hey guys, it's Timmy Hall. This ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is Super Bowl 59. So get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting that Lombardi trophy, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to go for 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code TheFan971. That's code TheFan971 for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Ohio only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
They're trained. They're fired up. Let's do it. When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hi, Bob Masheter back with a huge message for 2025. Dick Masheter Ford is offering the biggest deals in a decade to kick off the new year. How about new Broncos for up to $16,000 off? New F-150s up to $11,000 off, and up to $12,000 off of Super Duties. If you resolve to save money this new year, then don't wait and grab your new Ford to kick off an awesome 2025. Dick Masheter Ford. Close Sundays because it's the right thing to do, but 24/7 at masheterford.net.
Big game party? Save big with Hothead Burritos Super Online Catering Discount. Bowls, burritos, tacos. Your guests will have a blast creating their own with choices for groups of 10 or more. Plan your menu now for Sunday's game at hotheadburritos.com.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter for Affinity Whole Health. I've trusted Affinity for 7 years for their testosterone replacement therapy. Why? Because it's natural for our bodies to gradually lose testosterone over time. This leads to brain fog, fatigue, muscle loss, low sex drive, none of the things you want. If you want to feel like you did in your prime and get your energy back, better mood, higher sex drive, increase muscle mass, then get started for free at feelgreatcolumbus.com. Affinity is local. They're accessible. They ship the treatments right to your door. feelgreatcolumbus.com.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When you leave a job, don't leave your 401k. Grow your investment without the fees associated with 401k plans. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and yes, I have a new update for you. I know you're thinking one of these weeks I'll put up a goose egg, but not yet. Not with Awaken 180. Another 4.8 pounds down last week with Awaken 180. And if you're following along, it's sure fun for me. 42 pounds in just 8 weeks. Let's put weight aside. I've stopped snoring thanks to Awaken 180. And what does that mean? Happy wife, happy life. Plus, bonus, I wake up feeling great because I'm actually sleeping through the night. Energy levels high, less pain in my knees, and now I'm able to play at the little gym with Willie and throw him up and down and watch him be a crazy man. I know most of these messages talk about how much weight I'm losing, but it's more about what losing weight is making me win in every other area of my life. For the big game this weekend, I'm pumped. Wings, meatballs, adult beverages, everything's still on the table while losing weight with Awaken 180. Let them show you how easy it is and give Awaken 180 a call. 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800.